Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. And guess what, family? Your mom's mom is here today. It's my mom.
Wow.
It's Sylvia.
The real mother.
The mother of mothers.
The mother of
The
mothers.
mother of moms.
Mother Earth.
Mom, I can't believe you're here with
I
us
know,
today.
after so many years.
I'm
And
like-
you know what's weird is sitting here because you guys do the YouTube portion of this,
Right.
but I only listen to the audio all the time.
You're an audio girly.
I'm an audio girl. And so your sister said, Mom, you got to dress up. I'm like, I'm wearing shorts.
You look gorgeous.
You look amazing.
Thanks.
Your
Everything's-
hair.
The shoes are
Oh,
matching
well,
too.
The
thanks.
white jacket is popping. We were talking about earlier how you could have been part of one of the cast photos of one of the guys with like your nice white jacket.
Oh, okay. It doesn't look like I'm 63 years old. Huh?
Well, in some ways, we're kind of mimicking when you actually look at our
Vintage.
background and her look. We're kind of mimicking the cast bio photos.
good.
Actually.
Of which I would like to ask you, after watching this episode with this cast of men, do you regret not letting me sign you up for the Golden Bachelor? Do you regret it?
Kind of smoke shows
Family,
row.
here's the reality. She tries to get me on the. She tried the last time to get me on the show.
I tried hard. I even tried to start a hashtag going to maybe like convince you.
You know what? You know how private I am.
I know.
And then there's a part of me that thinks like at 63, the first 33 years, there was like an interim of like not wanting to like relive some bad choices. And that's really a fear.
Yeah.
And then I feel like things have been good character, living with a lot of integrity.
Yeah.
But like you could be on the show.
Yeah, and you could meet a bunch of hot
I
guys.
don't
I don't
know.
know.
You could
That's
have,
all
like,
nice and
You
dandy.
got a
But
line of hotties.
I'm
through the
always
show.
like, but I'm not very funny.
Oh my
I'm not-
gosh.
No, but
Here
I'm not.
we go.
Family, I am not funny like my daughter and my son-in-law are funny.
Mom, you're very funny.
no, I'm
you're
not.
charming. Okay, but
Yeah.
you're very charming. You're very wonderful to
I'm
talk
nice.
to.
And
You're a
then-
beautiful woman. You're
I'd
very
be,
interesting.
Then I'd be scared that the edit would show me completely different than what I actually was.
I get being scared of the edit.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I feel like though, I will say, and they did it again this season so far. The Golden Bachelor, the way that they edited it was fantastic.
yeah.
You got to really know and fall in love with people. And so far in this first episode, I feel like I'm loving these men, which I'll be
Yeah,
real with you.
Totally.
I
agree.
concerned.
I was not expecting to love them.
I was like, this is going to be a nightmare. I'm going to be like this beautiful, incredible, wonderful woman, Joan,
Now-
and these losers. And the men seem wonderful.
Now, one
so
thing I will
far.
say about
Knock on
that
wood.
is that like one thing they are almost across the board is like very sweet, very kind, very complimentary, all those things. But, the king of that vibe was our last Golden Bachelor. And it
Jerry Gary Turner.
seems like it, not is all it seemed to be.
Right.
And he might be the goat of like the hello, darling.
Yeah,
I am the
yeah.
sweetest, most harmless person on the planet. You know what I mean? So just because someone is, the sweetest ever, it doesn't mean we always know if these guys can't be a little toxic or something. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the thing
So
is,
we'll
none
never
of
know.
us are perfect, and at our age, there's a lot more decades of
Yeah.
some bad
Of
patterns
mistakes.
or making mistakes, and that's I think the scary part for the golden group. It's like some of them have lived because they're widowed or whatever. Like she, really. I mean, she knew him since she was 20 years old,
Yeah,
and
20.
this really wonderful fairy tale almost sounding marriage. But not everybody's had that.
Right.
And the more decades you live, the more chances of lack of integrity choices. And
Yeah.
I guess that for me is like one of the biggies is more like, oh, but I don't know. But I do have to say,
But I'm holding on to hope right now.
Me too.
You guys-
I
Me
do
too.
have
I'm
to
holding on
say
to hope.
that I thought this first episode that I watched last night was so good and I loved it. And I have to say I'm like kind of living vicariously through her.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like
Who-
a little more personal than like when the You know, as much as I loved like Joey, I watched Joey's season.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, he's just darling. But
Right.
it is different when it's people your own age.
Sure.
But of
sure.
course.
Sure. Because
But
they
of
talk
course.
about, you know, how their bodies feel and then their grandkids and their kids and whatever.
Yeah, it was funny. Just a quick
Retirement.
note of that when during the rose ceremony when she came back and half the guys were like on the step getting up, like
Oh,
they had
no.
been sitting and stretching.
So,
because you know when they're up there, Mom, they're like it's hours of filming.
yeah.
Like, she
they're
could have been
standing
gone
up
for
there.
45
She could have been
minutes.
gone, and
Yeah.
probably she was because they're filming. They're taking the
Maybe
cameras. They're
retouched up
checking
her
it. They're
makeup,
retouching
yeah.
her. So these men are standing there for like hours.
Their backs are
Yeah.
aching. And
Well, and remember last season. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten her name, and I'm so sorry. What a queen! Where she wore the chair earrings, and she was like, "Give us chairs in the
Yes.
rose
yes,
ceremony."
I remember
Hey,
that.
producers, where are the chairs?
Yes, that was
Right.
so
Give
funny.
them the chairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so who, just right out the gate, before we dive in, who, if you were Joan
yeah.
on this season, which you know what, who knows? I know you're talking about being concerned, but what if one day we get you on the show? Anyway, I'll keep trying.
Yeah.
But if you were
I don't
Joan
know.
on that first episode, who would you have given your first impression rose to?
Okay, we're not talking about just looking at a flat picture. We're talking about once
talking
we met
after you've
the,
seen the
once we
episode.
met
If
the
you would
men.
have been in Joan's shoes
Right.
the whole night, talking to the guys, seeing what you saw with Joan.
everything that I saw edited on television.
Yeah, just from
right.
what you've
I
seen.
don't know. Joan maybe had a lot more conversations.
Sure.
But just what
you
you've
know?
seen.
Interestingly enough, the biggest surprise I had was the fact that she gave the rose to
Keith,
Keith.
I loved it.
I did. And that was a big surprise for me in light of the fact that I had just originally the flat photos.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Shade
had
for Keith.
other people in mind thinking that,
Sure.
she'll probably pick him
There
or
were some
him.
legitimate models there.
Well, he's
yeah.
a very handsome
He
man.
is.
He is
is.
handsome and he's energetic and he's fun. But it's seeing, I always, you know, your sister always makes the posters for me. So
my gosh, we're gonna show that in a second.
so I always see those flat pictures. And then there's always that, okay, well, who's physically maybe attractive? I'm always interested in like, what have they been doing? What are their
Right.
interests or whatever?
Sure.
And so when I looked at that versus actually watching it last night, some of the ones that I thought maybe she would pick, or there's one in particular to me that just stands so out that seems like physically the perfect
Yeah.
like connector for her. And yet last night
Who
when
was
I
that?
was watching it, Mitt Romney, which was
Guy.
Mitt Romney? Oh, Guy. I was like, Mitt Romney was there?
You know what's so funny? I was watching
I
with my
look at
girlfriend
him and I
Ari, and I
go-
was like, that man looks just like Mitt
oh no,
Romney.
it's Mitt. It's like
This was a little,
Okay,
little triggered,
so
but also
Guy was your like
well-
number one attraction.
not for me, but I felt for her.
Yeah.
When I was
Well, we're
looking
not asking
at
that.
the-
We want
yeah.
to know what you find
Oh
to be
no,
the hottest.
I know my number one
That's what I was
attraction.
That's what we're at. We don't want.
Oh,
we're not
my
like,
number
yeah,
one?
if
who
you
would
were
you
Joan,
give the first
Oh.
impression rose to? If you were Joan that night.
Yeah.
Okay, if I was Joan versus who I personally,
Yeah.
but they didn't give him any screen time hardly, so that's hard for me to say. I think the choice was actually a good choice.
Okay, guys. No, one quick caveat we're making here is, you know, this is we're having to go through a little bit of training here.
I'm very literal.
No, and we love I love my mother-in-law so much, but one thing that we do struggle with sometimes is answering direct questions. So we're going to try this again. Sylvia, Joan doesn't exist in this
You are
analogy.
Joan.
You are Joan.
I'm going to ruin
The only
podcast
thing
episode.
we are asking is, if you were Joan,
If I
Joan
was
doesn't
Joan-
exist. Who do you think
Okay.
you would give your first
Who would
impression
you have given
rose
the first
to?
impression rose
Just
to?
from
As Sylvia, not Joan.
as
Joan-
me.
Joan is not a person who exists in
As
this
Sylvia.
scenario.
I thought Jordan was
Yes, Mom. he was
Jordan.
my
I think was
crush.
kind of a charming because of the shyness.
Yeah.
And then I liked also, is it Jonathan?
Yeah.
Who one of them has like this tattoo you can
Jonathan.
see peeking out.
Jonathan.
I thought he was the one
The one who did the blindfold?
The one, yes.
Yes,
I
yeah.
thought that was creative.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how he connected with her on, and I can so relate to this, feeling invisible as you start
I
getting
wanna talk
older.
about that, yeah.
And so I like that
For
a
sure.
lot.
That's what I thought you were
and
going to
he's
say.
so
I
handsome.
mean, yeah, it's stunning.
Yeah. For me, I'm getting now to the point where I've really turned a corner about the looks thing isn't
It's
near
not as
that big of a
important.
deal.
But I'm just saying
Yeah.
he seems like a lovely guy
Yes.
and he's cute. And same with Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Jordan because Jordan is my, so sorry, Ev,
Wow.
my
He's kinda
capital
shy.
CRUSH
Wow.
crush.
Okay.
I love
that.
him.
But there was somebody that I really wish I could have, like, the person that I would have liked to see more of, they didn't really show a lot of.
You know who it is?
So-
We say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Pablo. We didn't see Pablo at all.
yeah.
We literally heard
no.
him say like
So-
hello to her. And we were
So
then he was
now here's the mission.
traumatized.
Here's the
Well,
mission.
he's available. Yeah, he's available.
Oh my gosh.
And
it's true,
I
Mom.
don't know how, but if that man is single, I want to date. So Katie
Now, I will
Zitnick
say,
and you
now-
are you guys all your girlfriends have to figure out?
Now, one thing I
We're
will
on the
say,
mission.
he did not seem like a generally tall man.
I don't care
And
about
you're
Mom
that.
doesn't
not
care.
super
I'm
short.
only 5'4".
She's 5'4".
Are you
She's not.
5'4"?
She's
Yeah,
not.
I've
super
shrank
tall.
2 inches according to my bone density.
And she wears
this year.
she
They
wears
informed
heels.
me. You're 2 inches shorter.
2 inches.
Yes.
That's kind of a lot.
Since 2020. Yeah.
Wow.
5'6" to 5'4". I know. I hope it doesn't keep on
Half
going.
an inch a year.
I'll be 4'9"
You'll
soon.
be this big in 10 years.
I know, and my spine. Can you imagine? It's like, where does it
they
go?
straighten you out.
No, but
I know, Pablo.
So I was just I went into watching the show with trying to find out not just the physical, but kind of like, what are they into? What do they like?
Sure,
and
sure.
I found him.
worked
I
with the
found
UN.
him. He's very attractive, but I found what was interesting to me was what his interest and
I
his
thought
job.
he was going to have a lot more, like, just from the bio. I thought there was going to be a lot of screen time there. But
it
I
was
just
like
thought,
he
what
was-
a
he was the
fascinating
guy.
person to talk with.
Listen, so the mission is everyone out there listening.
Yes, everybody.
Get my mom to Pablo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Pablo apparently has kids in New York and in California.
someone's
Even
been
though
doing
he
research.
lives in Maryland. Oh, yeah. I looked, but you know what's interesting?
Hashtag hot for Pablo.
I thought it was a bummer, though, because Joan lives in Maryland and he lived in Maryland.
Right.
I thought, that's always helpful.
That's
so much
really
easier.
helpful, yeah.
It does make things easier. So
Well,
anyway,
guess what?
but
Now
maybe
he's
lucky
here for
for
you.
me, Pablo. I don't have I have a small Instagram, but just connect with Jessica, my daughter,
Southern California.
or Evan, my
Slide
son-in-law.
into the Your Mom and Dad podcast Instagram.
Uh-huh.
Okay, please, Pablo.
if you're interested.
Maybe I'll just send him
Send
a
us an
message. I'm gonna
email.
see if he's got an Instagram. Maybe I'll just send him a message and be like, "You want to date my mom? Do you want to be my new dad?"
Just
like
a coffee
moms?
date, just so we can chat.
I love this.
strings attached.
Maybe he'll be here for in a few weeks for the Men Tell All. He'll be back in California. so that's the
nab
time,
him.
Pablo.
I gotta go stand in line. How do all those people get in the audience?
Yeah, you need
Don't
one
they
of
go
those
stand
ladies in
line?
there with a sign, like
Yeah, big Pablo.
I'll take Pablo.
Mary, call me Pablo and just put your number on there.
Number.
That's the goal, everybody. Okay, we got to take one quick pause, and then I have to share something that my mom brought before we dive in to this recap. But family, listen, we all know that Joan is a queen in the kitchen. We've seen the TikToks, Joan. We've seen the chicken noodle soup. Okay, we'll talk about that later. And we also know home cooked meals are so much better for you, but we don't always have time to pull it off. But with HelloFresh handling all the meal planning, shopping, and most of the prep, it's easier than ever to get dinner on the table quick and painless. And you all know that I am no chef, right, Mom?
Evan is the chef.
I'm no chef, but everybody, with HelloFresh, I am a 5-star chef, honey. I'm able to whip out these delicious meals with HelloFresh. You get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit, baby.
That's right. No more endless recipe searching or spending money on a whole jar of spices for only a pinch. With HelloFresh, everything you need to make delicious meals comes right to your door, pre-portioned and fresh. Plus, the included step-by-step recipe cards make cooking really simple. And there's always new flavors to explore with an ever-changing menu of 50 recipes to choose from every single week. Just pick your meals and your delivery date. It's really that simple.
And it's delicious. We made their sun-dried tomato spaghetti the other night, and it was
So good.
so yummy.
So good.
Honestly, Everything is delicious, and choose from a variety of menu options to suit all your needs and tastes, from fit and wholesome to quick and easy, or vegetarian to family friendly. There's something for everyone to enjoy. And do not forget to check out HelloFresh Market for more delicious add-on items to jazz up your weekly deliveries. And by the way, did you know Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh? I like switching in between the two brands because it just gives this whole wider range of deliciousness to choose from. And now you all can enjoy both brands at a discount with us. Now check this out, okay? Are you ready? For free breakfast for life, go to hellofresh.com/freemomdad. One free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to hellofresh.com/freemomdad. That's hellofresh.com/freemomdad. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Holy smokes, what a deal.
That's actually crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Okay, let's get it.
So hashtag free mom dad. Free mom dad. Okay, before we dive into recapping this episode of Family, I have to show you what my mom brought. If you're not on the YouTube to see, well, then you should hop on over because my mom brought, I have this right here, a literal poster board, like a school project.
Yay!
Of
Look how
all the
nice.
men. Look at this. Can you see this?
Okay,
Look at
I
this.
didn't make this.
This is my little sister, Janae. Every season, she makes these. And these are like, this is quality. She goes to CVS and gets these photos like printed out
They're
proper.
like glossy.
They're glossy.
Well, and you know what she
my mom
does?
brought this so that we can keep in order the men.
Wow.
Yes. And so, I
is
have
pro
to give my
recapping.
daughter, Jessica, huge kudos.
Janae.
No, first I'm going to give you huge kudos.
wow. Oh, wow.
Because, I mean, you've been doing this and you do multiple shows in different, not just The Bachelor. Sometimes you're doing Love is Blind and all of that. I have no idea how you keep everybody straight, especially at the beginning. So this is
I
so
don't.
helpful.
Yeah, she just does. And
I
then she
know,
corrects me
that's what
constantly.
I
I'm always
mean.
like,
It's so
I
impressive.
appreciate it.
No.
It's the first of all, I make mistakes, but it's also the cast bio that helps solidify it in my mind really well.
I
you do
was
have
like,
ele-
after watching the show, knowing that I was going to come on here the next day, thank God for that poster.
I know. Can you
Because
set
I
this up for Mom
literally
so she can
watched
see
the
it?
show with the poster up so that I could at least have some sense of everybody's name. And I mean, I think I know about half of the names, but not all of them. And so, yeah, Janae does an awesome job.
My little
Now,
sis.
usually what we do is when somebody goes home, we usually then will
Extract the photo.
eliminate. Yeah, I'm not going to do that
Deface
this time.
the photos,
It's
like pirate
no, this is-
mustaches.
No, you can't.
I'm living
you can't.
vicariously through Joan. She may send them home, but they're staying in the living room.
They're in my heart. They're living with me.
I come home and you have them all framed on
Yeah.
the wall.
Totally.
They're like laying in her bed. I'm like, why is Pablo's picture in your bed?
I have a board of the United States, with the yarn. Pablo lives in
Yeah.
Maryland, and
Yeah.
the string comes to California.
He's on vacation right now
Yeah,
in
right there.
Florida.
And then so and so lives. Oh no, who's the one that lives in Puget Sound? The Navy. Kim.
Oh, Kim.
Kim's up in Puget
Oh, yeah.
Sound. Okay, how many miles between that and Orange County?
Mom's gonna go on a full.
I'm gonna have a full strategy.
You're gonna go.
Yeah.
You're gonna go across the U.S. of A. to
That's
go
right.
visit all the
That's
men.
right. That's everybody's little town and seeing, okay, what seems to be doable here.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're gonna live vicariously through Joan. But let's start talking about the beginning of this episode with Joan.
Yeah.
What an intro.
Yeah, she is such class.
I mean, she.
I was really impressed with the network of how I loved how they started off with the whole aerial view of Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of know where she's at. And then even the shots, all the shoes, that they had
Yeah, the
kind of at the
gold
bottom, all
shoes.
those beautiful shoes.
had her putting makeup on
dress.
over her makeup.
Totally.
She's like fully made up.
But she's just like brushing. Yeah.
No, but I love Joan. You and I have talked about this. I love Joan when she was on
Yeah.
Jerry Gary Turner.
Yeah, Jerry Gary Turner
Yeah.
season. Yeah,
GGTs
Jerry
we
Gary
call
Turner.
them. Yeah.
She was just she's just an
Elegant.
elegant, classy. She doesn't seem like a drama woman. She's just so put together. I was so excited when they chose her.
I felt like through this entire episode, and we can talk about the intro where we got to know her a little bit more and her background with her husband. But what I really liked about her, number one, she didn't seem nervous at all.
No, it was
Like,
unbelievable.
Zero nerves.
Zero nerves.
And also, she has this like energy of being simultaneously very strong and also very like gentle.
Yes.
There's kind of this like combination of like she's a strong woman.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
tell by the way when the men were coming in and they'd be nervous and she'd be like, I got you, you're good, don't worry about it. And in all the one-on-one conversations, she like she's like a leader. But then she has this gentleness to her that makes you feel very like seen, I feel like, and warm and cozy. I feel like it's going to become an absolute bloodbath in the house over her. I think the men are going to really fall in love with her, like truly.
Agreed. Yeah, she's got mom energy. She has CEO energy, but she also has like nurse energy. You know what I mean? Like she kind of is multi-dimensional. And I feel like because of that, these guys are going to be feeling like total package energy.
Oh,
Because she
absolutely.
really, I don't know, there's something about her that like when she ate Jack's food, but then also enters in like looking like she does, like she's got like the kind of, I can throw beers back and play cornhole,
Right.
but then I can also like be in a ball gown at the,
Yes.
special event. Like she kind of can do it all.
The dress?
No. it
The
was
dress with the
stunning.
bow down the back, it was a couture.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
couture. And we had this intro, and this is why I'm like, get rid of all the regular seasons. I just want Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette, because that intro with the Casey Musgrave song.
Oh yeah, they got the budget, baby.
The budget baby's popping and her just stunning in that dress. And then we got to find out more about how her and John met at 20 and 21, and that he made her feel visible every day. And then he ended up getting pancreatic cancer. And her talking about the night that she lost him.
Oh my God.
Was
It's not in the hospital like it's like literally you just you just take a nap real quick, come back, and then your love of your life is no longer with you. I mean, talk about like mind blowing. And she even kind of admitted to being like, hey, I kind of was in denial during his illness. So then there's like the shock of even that, right? You're kind of just in this like, I'm not, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. And then all of a sudden your life's changed overnight.
And I felt like her talking about that, you know, I've obviously never experienced anything like that, but I'm like, wow, that has to be really powerful for people who have gone through having a loved one with like a severe illness like that.
Right.
And just her vulnerability and explaining that she was like, I was kind of in denial and then I was feeling this way and all of that. And then, but there was that moment where she was like, the hawk came that first day. And then when she's visiting his gravestone, the hawks were there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What I really liked was also how she spoke about him.
Yeah.
That it wasn't like, and I'm just ready to get out there into the new world. It was like a she said best 33 years of my life. You know what I mean? It was like, I find it so beautiful when there's like, hey, I went through this thing. I'm now a widow. He was the best thing I could ever ask for. We had an incredible life together, but life's not over. So I'm going to try to live again.
Yeah.
How she talked about him and how like special that is, you know?
Well, and there's an energy of hope that's like pulsating through it. And we felt it with the Golden Bachelor, obviously. And I think so much of it was like the women that were on screen last season that you felt this like hope. But she said, I don't know if you could have two great loves in one lifetime, but I'm hoping. And and then she mentioned, you know, she'd had these travel plans with John and then he was gone and she was then dealing with feeling invisible. Mom, you said you relate to that. Do you mind like sharing?
Yeah. So I think that if you asked maybe her cast of men, I bet you there's even other guys on there that kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
There's something weird about when you get to be a certain age. Well, I have to say this. The invisible, the first time I ever felt it was actually after your dad and I got divorced. And all of a sudden it's like church was such a big part of my life. And so then going to church and everybody's a couple. And that was an environment that I never, you know, and then all of a sudden you're by yourself.
Yeah.
And then just other places that you go. So it was, for me, the invisibleness that I can relate to is kind of twofold. One, as a single person. The other one is there's something about getting older that you just notice it's just normal. And I think about it even with elderly, like my mom's age.
Yeah.
People that are in their like 80s, and up or whatever, because our culture doesn't necessarily value the great wisdom
Right.
and we're
Age,
gonna and parents
experience,
staying in right. Unfortunately, other cultures do where the elders are you go to them for all the advice.
You should write a book called The Great Wisdom.
Yeah, the great.
It's just a
that's
picture
a
of
good
you.
one. The great wisdom.
Send it to Pablo.
Just like this.
Yeah. But that comes with age just too. If you enter into a room, you guys are young and you're gorgeous and nothing's sagging. And when, your 20s, 30s, I'd say, you start feeling that, I'd say maybe when you get into maybe your 50s or whatever, but you don't enter a room anymore in the same kind of way. Like when all of a sudden, think of all the like bachelorettes and bachelors and they're all beautiful.
The confidence is off the chain.
Yeah, and it's just like
Life's
they
endless.
walk into a room
and people pay attention.
And then the parents come, whether it's like a red carpet and they're bringing mom to the Academy Awards.
Right.
Well, the mom's being noticed because whoever it was brought his mom, right?
Right.
But in the end, that's just part of the way it is.
Sure.
And it's the reality. You have to be confident in who you are, and you have to be able just to be. You got to just love and know yourself and say, I'm valuable and I'm important. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, it's still something I could totally understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel that way when I go to Barney's Beanery.
When you go where?
100%.
To Barney's Beanery.
What's Barney's Beanery?
It's a bean shop.
It's
a refried bean shop?
Just kidding. Yeah. There's that. What do you call it? You mentioned
Literal.
It's a bar.
It's a bar that's like
when I go pick up my beans every week.
It's popping off.
Oh yeah, beans like in a coffee shop?
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of. I think that's how it started. But anyway, it's like a divey bar that started popping off on TikTok, and now it's become. I used to go there all the time.
Yeah.
It was divey, and now everyone there is like the oldest person
like
there.
23 is
the oldest person there is 22. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when we walk in, when me and sometimes my girlfriends walk in, because we would go there, it was, and this sounds so ridiculous, but I've experienced sometimes the first moments of like that feeling in your stomach where you're like, I'm getting shoved around. And it's truly invisible. Like I'm standing at the bar looking for a drink and some dude just like steps on me. And I'm like, excuse me, which is so, again, I'm still very young and I'm not trying to say, compare myself to your situation
totally.
but it's some of those first time moments where I'm going, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever had it? I remember even feeling it. Now that we're talking about it, it triggered a thought. I remember even feeling it like when you're the mom of a kid and when you go to the school and it's like, the kids, whatever, let's say it's junior high and you're completely invisible to these kids.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm too loud to make
it's
myself
just kind of, no, it is weird.
Like, what
it's
up, kids?
It's a strange thing.
No,
where
for sure.
You're just like, the kids are just rushing by you and they're like, nobody's looking at you. And you have little glimmers of it that start.
I remember
when you're in your
being
30s.
22 years old and thinking 35 might as well be 80. Like, so old.
Yeah.
Like a 35-year-old person is like, I don't know, someone's dad. I don't know, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's so old.
Yeah.
So let alone 40s, 50s. I mean, it's like you might as well be
and
on the
then it
moon.
all just happened so fast.
Yeah.
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 So I thought that was cool. They connected on that he brought that up to her.
that is cool.
And
Jonathan.
Yeah, I thought that was a
Yeah.
nice. I thought that was a good connection for them.
Yeah,
It was.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think, that was something that she talked about on Jerry Gary Turner's season that really resonated with a lot of viewers in the conversation.
Right.
They even had it, at the Women Tell All. I think it got brought up because it does resonate with people so much. So I do think that this season is going to have that like quote unquote, like tagline as part of the energy going through it. And I think it's important for like young viewers to see that.
Yeah, because everybody's going to one day be our age.
Yeah.
She even mentioned that when she was walking and she had that wonderful pink jacket on in her intro.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at that and I go,
want
God,
that.
I love just how she dresses and everything. But as she was walking and the invisible comment came up, she did talk about everywhere she goes, it's like it feels like a couple's world.
Yeah,
And
for
of
sure.
course, young people, I mean, I know it's hard for young people too that aren't in relationship.
Of course.
It's difficult
Well,
for
and then
everybody.
people too who want to be
Right.
single, but
Right.
yet culturally it's very much like, well, but you don't have a partner. And it's like, no, just the value in each individual
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
huge.
So I was really touched with
Yeah.
all that she said and at the beginning. And I loved her house too. I kind of was looking at like, I think it was
Do you
her
think it's her house? You're always curious
Do you
about
think
that.
that was her house?
Are you talking about the massive?
no, not the one that was
With all
like
the windows.
rounded. No,
I was like,
that was in
holy
Malibu, I think. But when
And
they
she's
were
Lex
doing
Luthor.
her initial intro,
Yeah.
I think it was in her house, and it was super like perfect and elegant. And they showed like she was talking about her husband passing away, and they took a shot where she was in the kitchen, or not the kitchen, but like where the formal eating room was, and the stairs were to the left, and she had the coolest carpet going up the stairs that was like a leopard kind of or cheetah carpet.
I love the idea of Joan.
So it's just like, I'm like watching this and just trying to take it all in to try to know what is
Who
this
she
woman
is.
like. Yeah.
I love the idea though.
The interior designer, everybody.
Yeah,
my mom is an incredible
I
interior
noticed a lot of
designer.
those
She
details.
notices all those things.
But she does that too, apparently, part-time. That's like a
does she?
hobby of hers.
Oh,
yeah. I read that somewhere.
She's
So-
researched.
Yes, I did a little bit of research.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
yeah,
Her
I just-
homework.
a little bit of research.
Called producers and figured it out.
Trying to find
I
out
was
who this
saying,
woman
I
is.
love the idea of like her being this like immaculately perfect, just like elegant, floating on air woman. And then they go to her house and it's an absolute disaster. And she's like grabbing bags of chips off the ground and like eating Lay's and being like, oh yeah, these are old. And then like throwing it. You know what I mean? I just love the idea that like it's all on the outside with Joan, but you go to her house and it's just insane.
Like it's my house. It's just the room over and over.
She's like, there's my room. Don't go in there.
Okay, so there's a little bit about Joan, that intro, and it just got me so excited for the
amazing.
season. It was so stunning and emotional and gorgeous. But then the men come in the limo entrances. But let's take a quick pause before we dive into these men. Family, you know that these contestants were on their feet for hours during the first night. Okay, we saw it with our own eyes. And most of their feet were probably aching, but they would have been so much more comfortable if they would have been wearing a pair of Vionic Walk Max sneakers. And they would have looked great too, okay? Vionic Walk Max sneakers for him and her, for everyone. I love my Vionic Walk Max sneakers. I wear them everywhere all day, including when I'm walking many miles. And at the end of the day, my feet feel amazing. The moment I put on the Walk Max sneakers, I felt the difference. I felt the science. I don't know how to quite put it into words, but if you have ever put on a pair of Vionic shoes before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's incredible. This is science-led design informed by biomechanics to create the ultimate walking shoe. The balance of max cushioning and stability optimizes your natural stride and keeps you on the move in comfort.
Yeah, I love my Vionic Walk Max sneakers, and I love the way they look too. Vionic's exclusive VioMotion technology is really what sets them apart. The exclusive podiatrist design technology features unmatched underfoot contours, providing stability and support through every stride. They began by revolutionizing medical orthotics. Today, they continue to use that science to engineer shoes that leave you feeling energized and confident all day.
I love mine so much. I got the cream tango tangerine color and it makes my outfit look so cute. I mean, you got cute and ultimate comfort all in one. Okay, I'll take it. You have to check out their website. I'm telling you, they have so many amazing shoe styles with that science-led comfort. My other obsession right now is their Uptown loafers. They are so chic. I love them with like a suit, a dress. It's incredible. So check out all their styles on their website and get a pair of Vionic Walk Max sneakers if you're looking for the perfect all-day wear shoe. From park play dates to mall walks to school pickups to grocery shopping, they'll keep your feet happy. They even offer a 30-day guarantee. Wear them, love them, or return for a full refund within 30 days. Use code MOMDAD at checkout for 15% off your entire order at www.vionicshoes.com when you log into your account. That's one-time use only. Again, the code is MOMDAD at www.vionicshoes.com. Vionic Shoes, wearable well-being for your feet. Okay, let's talk about these men.
Yes.
Let's look at this board and talk about these men and these limo entrances. Okay, so we think this is what we're going to do. We're going to go guy by guy and talk about just their whole vibe and
Things
their
they said,
and their interactions
whatever.
with Joan. So we're going to do the limo, but we're also going to talk about their like one-on-one moments with Joan and all that as we go. Sound good,
Sounds
everybody?
good.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, I mean, first, JP and Joan have a moment. I can't believe he's not in his Beetlejuice suit. You know, I'm waiting for him
I
to be
know.
like, it's
I know.
showtime. Terrifying.
Wait a second. I have a question. What's a Beetlejuice shoot? What do you mean by?
There was a commercial that the show did for Beetlejuice as a promotion, and they put Jesse Palmer
striped deal?
in a Beetlejuice suit, and he would like pop down. And he's like, "It's showtime!"
Oh, gosh,
it
I
was
didn't see
it was
that.
crazed.
But it's funny too because his personality didn't change at all. So he came out and he's just like, hello,
Yeah.
I'm Beetlejuice. Like it was very
They
funny.
didn't put on a wig on him or makeup. He
Yeah.
just had this wild Beetlejuice suit, and he was
poor
just like,
guy.
"It's
He's not a character
showtime."
actor. He's not a character
No.
actor.
No.
He's Jesse Palmer. Actually, he is a character actor. He is Jesse
He's
Palmer.
Jesse Palmer.
He's Jesse
He
Palmer.
is
and he
himself.
does Jesse Palmer very well.
He does.
He does. He does. We won't talk about the After the Final Rose,
No.
which
Okay.
we're going to mention.
I never.
one time.
Yeah.
You didn't
You
see.
didn't
Yeah,
see it,
you didn't
okay.
see
Yeah.
Jen's season. Yeah. Well, we're going to address that potentially coming up here soon in a moment, if not in a few episodes from now,
Yes.
because there's a lot to talk about. Hold tight. Okay. So limo entrances. First, we have Pascal.
Yeah. Perfect first guy out the chute. I thought that was the best call that they did.
Really?
To have him be the first. Yeah, because I think he just like parted the Red Sea.
Yeah.
No props necessary. That guy's with that Parisian accent. No,
The French
I thought he was
salon
fantastic.
owner. He's just, of course, he comes down. He's just like, I like a woman who presents themselves well.
Yeah, I'll be
He's
honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of Pascal.
Okay,
Let me tell you why. Not in the way that like he's a bad guy or anything. I'm more. This is the reality. You have to set the template for each season, right? So sometimes everyone's so toxic that you're like, I don't like this guy. He's actually a bad guy. Whatever. We don't know anything yet. What we do know is just from what we've seen this whole episode. Everyone is a doll.
Yeah.
Pascal to me is the only guy that's
you
like.
don't trust him?
No, it's not that I don't trust him. I'll give you my quick breakdown of Pascal.
Okay.
Pascal has not dated a woman his age in
Maybe not.
60 years.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, even when he talks to her later, he pitches himself like he's talking to a 30-year-old.
Yes.
He's
yes,
like, I
yes,
am
yes.
very wealthy and
He's like, I have
am
a
successful
a
and
very expensive car.
I drive the cars I want and I have the house and
I
like,
have buy the suits that I
he's
want.
doing what like older rich guys do to younger people, and they
Yeah.
go like, by the way, I might be a little older, but your life's amazing with me. I like to go to France. I like to go to Paris. One moment we're going to Paris for 4 days. Like
Yes,
he was
yes, yes, yes.
pitching himself all the accomplishments and things, and he's like, you know, he's talking to the ITMs, going like, I know how to talk to women. Like he's sweet.
Oh, I thought he
but-
was hysterical.
He's sweet and hysterical, but I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying
No.
he's the only guy that's like, that's definitely a lot of experience. And there was no mention about exes and stuff. It was just like, I've been single and having fun for 20 years.
I'll say this. You know, we heard that he owns a beauty salon and a med spa.
I mean-
and Pascal's energy is if I was dating him, I would be like so insecure the moment like a wrinkle showed up. I'd be like, Pascal's gonna mention it. He's gonna be
Pascal's
like,
"You're very
it is
beautiful, but-"
time to get a little more Botox. I see the crow's feet. It's no
You're
for me.
sleeping and he's like trying to inject you. You know what I mean? Like that's my thought, is that he is. I mean, he even said it. I'm very good with women. Like I'm around beautiful women all day.
think
Basically,
about
is what he's
that's
saying.
No,
his
he was
whole
like,
entire
women.
life. It's like
beautifying
sure,
women.
Sure. I mean, personally, I could never step into somebody that has that history. It just wouldn't work.
And he
for
was
me.
the only guy in the group that was
but-
kind of throwing around ego too, being like, well, I could have got her. But, he was the only one that was kind of being like,
so funny.
he was
though.
hilarious,
yeah,
but he definitely
I
was.
love, though, Enchante. Didn't
he was
say that when he
storybook.
walked up? Enchante. But I liked how he came out. I love the accent. Even your sister went, ooh.
Yeah, I know. That
it's
accent
just
is
a
All of us
insane.
were like, ooh la la.
Exactly.
No, and he when
doesn't I'm not saying marriage material because,
Well, maybe not for Joan.
Yeah, maybe not for Joan, maybe not for me, but he is, he's somebody that would be so much fun though to be in a room with
Sure.
because he's such a kick.
well,
He'd be fun to date for a while.
yeah. Oh,
I don't even know. Not for me, but for
I
some
would date
people,
Pascal for a year.
It would be
Case
fun.
in point.
It would be fun to go to
30 years younger.
Okay, when he was talking to Joan about, I want to just be able to be
Yeah,
spontaneous
that's-
and go
that's
for
fun as
a
hell.
week to Paris. I'm just like,
I was going to date Pascal. For
yeah,
that. You know what I mean? I'll be
exactly.
like, what do I got to do?
I'm like,
Go to Paris for a
can
week?
you imagine him showing you Paris?
Oh, yeah.
Everything
No,
would
he
be
was-
like caviar.
He painted a very romantic spectacle
Yeah,
of life
he
with him.
did.
And the thing
He
about
did.
Pascal, yes. Do I think that he's going to be the right fit for Joan?
He even said, by the way, I'm also a fantastic dad. Here's proof. And then showed the letter. Like, he was literally pitching himself for like a job.
Do you know what though? In fairness to him, you know how I always play devil's advocate. In fairness to him, he brought that letter. I think because he was filming during Father's Day. I got the impression that he was trying to relate to her that family is really important,
Yeah.
and how she left because of her daughter and how valuable that was. And he was kind of like, oh, family matters a lot to me. And he was already on a flight or already here, and he was away from his son. And so I think that's why he pulled out that letter. But
Wow,
you know what?
that's a deep analysis.
No,
Well,
but I agree.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah.
why he pulled the letter out. I
Oh.
don't think it was like, oh, look at a Father's Day card that my son just wrote me.
Here's my bank account and a letter from my son.
But you know what was so funny in that letter that he was reading to her? Then the son ended it.
Yeah.
Your
what did he say?
difficult
Your
son.
difficult son.
That
Yeah.
was so
And
funny.
then when they showed the video, I thought it was so funny when the son goes, have a good time and stuff. And then Pascal's like, that's what I'm scared of, is that he's going to have parties.
Yeah, he's like, I
you
promise
saw
I
the
won't
son.
throw a party.
The son is a man after his. The son's this good-looking guy in a sport coat. It's like the kid's like 25, and he's got a sport coat on. Like,
It's like what's been modeled for you,
Yeah,
of course.
100%.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I absolutely love him.
Mm-hmm.
I am obsessed with him. I
He's a
hope he stays on our
character.
Yeah.
screen for
Yeah.
a long
Agreed.
time.
Yeah.
We
I
need
don't
those guys.
necessarily think again it's Joan. He's very much giving me like, I'm here because she is so beautiful, and look at that hair. What I could do with this hair.
trying to date a woman my own age for the first time.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
But what I really, really liked about Pascal is I thought it was so great how when all the men were kind of going back and forth, and he's got this kind of funny like spice to him.
Yeah.
But when I think it was Charles K who made mention and said something about him having a fake accent.
Oh, yeah, I've been working on this.
And Pascal didn't get all hurt about it.
Yes.
Pascal goes, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, I have been going back to Paris every year to keep this accent.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
funny.
He's funny and he
Yeah.
lets things roll off his shoulders.
Yeah.
And I feel like I love him with the men. He seems like
Yes.
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like he seems like he's a great
Yes, I agree.
friend,
I agree.
probably an amazing father, and probably likes to have fun when it comes to romance. And
Well,
so maybe
I'm getting Playboy energy, 100%.
Playboy energy.
I hope that he does stay on the
I
show
want him to
for a
stay
long
around,
time.
yeah.
Because I think that it'll bring really fun dynamics.
I
so
completely
I think
agree.
that I think that where I got like the funniest moment on the show for me, which I don't think a lot of things are really funny, and that's a whole other conversation. But this,
By the
thing
way,
cracked me
FYI,
up.
just as a quick caveat, Sylvia, her favorite humor is very like slapsticky. So like slip on a banana
visual.
peel makes her
Visual.
laugh the hardest. So
Yes.
we're always trying to make Sylvia laugh because we're not
Someone's trying to
slapsticks.
fall.
We're always trying
Yes.
to kind of figure out a way to make her laugh.
So, this is a comic podcast, and Jessica is the black sheep in our family because her dad, myself, and her younger sister, none of us are funny. Evan is hysterical. Jessica has always been really funny, and Jessica laughs at everything, which is so cute. I wish I could do that. I just can't. I'm like the straight face. Except
gotta earn a laugh from Sylvia.
I do have to. I have to say though, throw in something in regards to a podcast that you guys just did a couple weeks ago. Katie Thurston's fiance, Jeff.
Mom messaged me and she's like, he is so
I can see
funny.
that. That makes
Nobody
sense.
makes me laugh very easily. I mean, unless we're watching Friends or Will and Grace, because it's not just what they say, it's the whole visual thing that I got to look at the facial expressions.
Yeah.
But after she got engaged, because I haven't met him, but I then kind of just looked, his name. Oh my gosh.
He's so funny.
I told Jess, I go, that he is, now I was laughing, but part of it is because it's a visual thing. He has the
facial expressions.
His facial expressions.
Yeah.
Not only is he really quick with the audience, but he is really good. I'm impressed.
He's phenomenal.
But he's so cute and he's got this great smile and he laughs at himself and he giggles at himself. So I think that's funny. So on the show last night when I watched it, I think the funniest part for me, it was one person who really isn't funny that I just kept laughing at, and that was Charles L.
Okay, we'll get to him.
We'll get to him.
But there was a shtick between Charles L. and between
Jack.
No, between Charles L. and the part that I thought was so hysterical was when
Pascal was like, "You need to prepare."
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was so funny because Charles L. is the analyst, right?
Yeah, data analyst,
and this quiet, really
sweet,
talking.
He's a literal earth angel.
Oh my gosh. I think people are going to just fall in love with him.
He's
but
precious.
when Pascal is like sitting there looking at Charles and Charles is literally being in analyst mode, do I need to prepare?
Yeah.
And then he's, he says we don't need to prepare. And Pascal's like, well, you maybe need to prepare.
Yeah, I don't need to prepare.
That was so
For whatever
funny.
reason, that just cracked me up. That whole, and then Jack, I think, commented and goes, Jack got a kick out of that because then they
need to be more chalant. He
they
said
showed
something like that.
Jack go, he's basically saying, you need to prepare.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was funny
really
dynamic with the guys sitting around.
The guys have great energy together.
Great energy.
I love all
best
of
friends
them
already.
in the room together.
And Gary was already being like, we're brothers and stuff like day one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about Gary too.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we have Kim, who he's the retired naval officer. He shows up in his naval officer suit. He gets an intro package, like you said, the Puget Sound. He was divorced, then married, and then his wife passed away. He's sailing. I did have a moment. It did make me laugh when they saluted each other.
Yeah, they saluted each other.
Really?
That was really funny.
He does the salute and she does it back.
Yeah, it was like, am I doing this right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was very cute. I think Kim, when he first came out, I was like, he's a handsome guy. He seems a little stiff. I think he, over the course of the night, seems like a lovely man.
Agreed.
He kept talking in such an encouraging way about all the other guys. He kept talking about like how what a great group of men. They're all so incredible. He would get like emotional about it.
Right.
And you could see there's like obviously a sense of camaraderie for him.
Although at the very end, there was a preview of him talking and he said something like, there's a bunch of frogs here and hopefully she finds her prince.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
There was something to the effect of like,
is Kim going to give us,
he's going to give
us
shade.
a twist.
It wasn't shade, but it was like, hopefully I'm the prince amongst a bunch of frogs. And so it was like, okay, I like that.
So he's going to give us a twist.
I like a little something.
I like the congenial Kim, but you know what?
I like the fact that I did like the fact he wore his uniform because that represents so many years of what he values.
Right.
So I like that only because
you can get who he is
I really
quickly.
like that. It was the second time I cried the first time when she was talking, but I got tears the second time when they did the little bio on him about the wife that passed away. He got choked up. And I like that because, you got this military Navy guy, you kind of, don't know their stereotypical ideas of how tough they can be and all of that. Yeah. And I was really touched by that. The one thing that I did notice, I don't know, did you guys notice this? Was that when he kind of approached her and then he introduced himself and stuff, he did this and I thought, this is so probably routine for him as like a military guy. how you have to check how somebody looks the uniform, because typically if you're going to look at a woman, you kind of do the, you know how like the up and down thing. He didn't do
nice.
no, he didn't do that, but he did this 4-point kind of like this
Like shoes check.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
Did you
Sleeves
notice
check?
that?
No, I
it was
didn't.
like,
Like
it was
bed made
like
check.
it was kind of like this
Sheets tucked.
corner to corner going across down to the bottom. It was really fast.
It wasn't like, what's up, sexy?
was super
more
fast.
like,
It was-
everything's in order, fantastic.
Yeah,
We can move forward.
and it was funny because I thought, oh, he's probably not wanting to be disrespectful, but so natural that he always does this. Like, is everything in check?
Right,
The
as
quick.
the
the
captain,
quick
yeah.
uniform
That's
check.
funny. I
Yeah.
didn't notice that. Well,
Yeah.
I will say with Kim, I do think that he, I don't think he's going to go super far, just because even though they gave him an intro package, I feel like he, you know, obviously he's, I'm not saying he's old, but I'm saying this energy is a little more like
Serious.
older and serious. And I feel like she's looking for maybe a little bit of a, not young energy, but a younger energy. And so I don't necessarily see them going like the distance personally, just because
agree.
I think he's a little too serious for her. I think she's looking for more like conversational play, but
Yeah, because I mean, why would you go on the show? You know, there's a little bit of like, if you're going on the show, you have energy and you kind of want to have fun.
Yeah,
You know, there is
yeah.
a level to that for sure.
but he seems like a lovely guy. Okay, gonna take another quick pause before we dive into more of these men. Family, we are talking romance today, or the beginnings of romance on reality television. And sometimes romance can lead to intimacy, the bedroom, if you please. And we got to tell you about something we have personally enjoyed. Mother, avert your ears. Our partners, about our personal bedroom situation. Our partners at Via Hemp have helped us and can help you set the mood. Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a medium dose of THC, all into one mind-blowing gummy, and their best seller. It's called High Love. I will share the very personal details because my mother is here, but let's just say Evan and I highly enjoy it. And Via just dropped their High Love bundle, which includes a pack of gummies and a THCA vape, so you can unlock the full experience at a reasonable price. So if you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via's website in our description and use code MOMDAD for 15% off.
Yes, we have very much enjoyed the High Love gummies together. Definitely not ideal talking about this in front of my mother-in-law, but we can just be honest here. Also, so many of the other Via gummies as well. Trusted by over 250,000 customers, Via's hemp products are the Swiss Army knife of wellness. They've got something for everything. Need to chill out after a long day? There's a Via gummy for that. Dealing with anxiety or stress? There's a gummy for that. Their products range from 0 milligrams to 100 milligrams of THC, so these guys have you covered whether you're looking to microdose or enjoy more potent effects. I love their Dreams gummy before bedtime. Slept incredible. Always a great night's sleep. And I also love their Elevate gummies before diving into a creative workflow day.
What I love too is that they also have 0 THC products. If THC isn't for you, you can still take advantage of their CBD line with products designed for sleep, focus, and energy. Catch me with the Zen gummy before bed and the Flow State gummy during an editing day. And their products are farmed and crafted with care in the USA and have great flavor and are made with vegan and organic ingredients. And best part, Via legally ships to all 50 states in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee, no medical card required. So if you are 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code MOMDAD to receive 15% off. After you purchase, they ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Via Hemp. Okay, next up we have Chock.
Chock a noodle soup.
Chock a noodle soup.
I call these guys chili dads. You know what I mean? Like you see these guys just at the chili cookout. You know what I mean? Like their biggest thing is like football and like and having the family over. Like he seems just like an all-American dad, that guy.
Yeah. Except he does have a bit of a Winnie the Pooh voice to me. He's a little bit like, hello, I'm Chock. I don't know. I can't do a Winnie the Pooh voice.
I thought that he brought that soup because she like does a lot of cooking
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
on
on
like
her
TikTok or
TikToks.
something like that. Right?
She does
So
the chicken
then
noodle. So he's like,
he was trying to
He's
relate
really-
to
yeah,
her.
it was
which
great.
I thought it was a great
right.
intro, but I
Yeah.
will tell you, if someone handed me soup and was like, please eat this, I'd probably vomit because there's something about a soup sitting in a limo for God knows 12
Right.
hours
Oh, yeah, you're
that you know
overthinking it.
it's
Yeah.
like just kind of like a tepid,
lukewarm,
it's
yeah.
lukewarm and I'm like gagging. Also, I just imagine Chock going to pavilions beforehand and being like, here's my
100%.
chock and noodle soup. Like
Yeah,
I
that's what I would've done.
made this. I made this at
100%.
home. I wouldn't have loved to eat the soup. Would you have eaten the soup if Chock
I
offered
would
it
have
to
eaten
you?
it because I would have felt the pressure
Sure.
in front of a camera.
But would you have felt a
to-
little nauseous?
I don't know if I would have felt nauseous. I always feel bad
Just a
because
tiny bit.
I feel like there's so much pressure on making that impression and having some kind of shtick
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah,
They all
sure.
feel like that. So I thought it was creative in light
along.
of the fact that she has a TikTok and everything.
Yeah.
No, I thought
But
it was a great
I
intro.
did think the same thing. I thought, ooh, I don't know right now. I just have a
soup's the
breath
mode,
mint.
yeah.
I'm meeting a bunch of guys. Now I'm going to have the taste of but whatever. I give him a 10 for the creativity or whatever.
for sure.
See, I
And-
would have done a garlic clove.
Oh,
Just to be
gosh,
like, so
can
then
you
no, so then
imagine?
you like force you to not kiss another guy.
It's not
You
as
know what I
bad.
mean? It'd be like, sorry. It'd be
It's
like,
not
here's
as bad as meatballs.
There you go.
right?
Here's a meatball.
Meatball was
Oh,
worse.
yeah, the
Yeah,
meatballs.
remember the meatball?
Oh, I
It's
forgot
like
about the
I'd rather
meatballs.
have a taste of soup
Than some man
have
dump
some
marinara sauce.
tons of meatballs.
Yeah.
Remember, whatever that was a few years ago. The thing with Chock, I think he seems very sweet. He's a handsome man. I mean, the only thing that I could really get last night from him was he's obviously very caring about it, taking care of his elderly mom.
Yeah.
And he loves his dog. I did not get any kind of sense of like, he did talk about having had a good life. He's found love, blah, blah, blah. But you didn't really get it. I didn't get any sense yet of like, are you close to your kids? How many kids do you have? Are you divorce? I mean, he didn't
Yeah, right.
mention widowed, so my assumption is divorce.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned being widowed typically. So I don't know. I didn't get a great. I didn't get. I think he's very comfortable. I definitely would have kept him around the way she did.
Yeah.
But I don't have enough info to get totally.
Seemed like they
Yeah.
obviously left out a chunk of info for quite a few guys. But
This might be an unpopular opinion. Oh well. Chock was kind of one of the only guys who we got more time with that I was kind of like, oh.
yeah.
I felt like, and maybe it was nerves, but he was like the one guy who felt competitive to me.
Really?
Interesting.
He mentioned a couple times, like, while the other guys were kind of like, oh, there's a bunch of amazing guys, and this could be the edit. He was kind of like, he was more talking about, sure, they're nice, but like, it's going to be me. I don't know. There was a competitive energy. And then when they
Okay,
sat down
interesting.
together, what I noticed is when she would start to talk, he would interrupt her and kind of talk about his own stuff. She'd be like, well, he's like, your eyes. But he's like, my eyes. And she's like, well, my dog. Or then she's like, well, I've always wanted to go on a safari. I've been. I don't know. There was kind of an energy there to me that I wasn't like
Interesting.
living for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry, Chock. I'm sure you're a
Chock, you're
lovely
out.
guy. But
Now, yeah, see, I didn't get that impression. I got more the fact that he's got such a minimal amount of time. He's trying to squeeze it all in.
which I get. And maybe, like I
Yeah.
said, maybe it's the first night nerves. But it was the one person that I was getting like, I don't know. I'm like, is this going to be kind of our quote unquote villain? Is he going to be competitive with the
He may
guys?
be competitive.
Well, it sounds very, what's
Jess
his name?
may be onto something. Because he did mention, didn't he do Kilimanjaro? Or
Yeah, he
I read that
climbed.
or
Yeah, yeah.
something.
But-
So he's climbed Kilimanjaro.
What's his name from last season was the king of that. He was talking about himself the whole time.
Sam.
Sam. It was always like totally. So anyway, my whole thing is like that can be kind of an interesting like be aware of that because if someone can't listen very well, that can tend to not
I
be
don't know.
great.
I feel as if he's going to be a bit of a competitive
All right.
character. Next we have Jonathan,
Right.
who you liked. I also like Jonathan as well.
The blindfold thing
He
we
came
talked
out with
about.
the satin blindfold. Talked about being invisible. That
1,500
resonated.
person town in Iowa.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I caught Iowa, and I did catch him say
1,500 people.
I did hear when he said I probably wouldn't live here if it wouldn't be for the fact of raising his kids.
So he's kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh wow, he is.
1,500 people.
You know what's interesting too, because when you look at him physically, he doesn't look like he'd be in a town of 1,500.
No.
He's got
City guy.
totally.
He's got tats.
No, he's
His tattoos extremely good looking. Like you don't see small town guy.
He doesn't look old fashioned.
No.
He's very
even him walking in this town.
Right.
He had like a nice shirt on, nice pants. Like he looks very.
Right. His kids are adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked him a lot too.
I did like him.
I noticed that Joan didn't say this. She said it about two guys. She said it about Jonathan and Guy. When Guy walked up, she's like, "You're very handsome." And when Jonathan walked away, she was like, "He is very good looking."
Yeah.
And then when the two of them sat together and had that conversation, not only did they have chemistry, I feel like though she gave her first impression rose to Keith, I feel like maybe she's the most physically attracted to Jonathan. She was very
big time.
He's very handsome, a little flustered with Jonathan.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think he definitely has the potential to go all the way with her because they do seem to have emotional chemistry too. But I think
he seems like he's kind of an empath or sensitive.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yes.
Did you get that a little bit?
Yeah, a kind
and then
soul.
even singing that song to her,
oh my gosh,
or
the poem.
I'm
The
sorry,
poem,
the
yes.
poem.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a romantic, big time.
he's remembered. So he saw her on stage the year before when she had to come up with a poem for Jerry Turner.
Yeah.
and so I don't know. He gives me kind of sensitive guy.
Well, I mean,
romantic,
think about it.
Definite vibe.
He has a whole thing about her being seen. Then he has a poem.
Very much
he's looking,
so.
looks into her
So if
eyes.
you
So he's
like that,
very
He
connected.
listens.
He's
he
a good
listens.
listener, yeah.
And I gotta say this, normally for me, I'm cringe city when you sing or
Yes.
you do a poem.
Yes.
Mom, I hate it so much. But I have to say, when he did that poem, he looked into her eyes the entire time and was so confident. I was a little flustered. It was not
He owned
cringy
it
at
in a
all to
different
me.
way.
And I always feel that way when it comes to like the poetry or the singing. It's like if you're laughing at yourself or you really own it in confidence, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And he stared into her eyes and he said that
Yes.
poem to her, and I was like, all right, I'm a little swept off my feet, Jonathan.
Yeah. He's tall too. Isn't he? Doesn't he?
He
seem
looks tall. Yeah,
he looks tall
tall.
because she
remember.
looks tall.
She is
Right.
tall, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And he was
Because most of
towering
those
over her.
guys are about her height. Like
Right.
they're similar.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's got these stilettos
Sure.
on, but I think she's a tall.
I want to see
a
what
tall
that
lady.
tattoo is. It's so big.
I know.
I just am like, what's underneath that shirt?
Yeah, we're seeing a little
he's got
side of
kinda- it
Sylvia
almost
here.
looks like
I
there's-
want to see what that body
feathers.
does. You know
There's
what I
like
mean?
these, it's something that
She's
looks.
brought up the tattoo like 3 or 4
Yeah,
different
the
times.
feathers.
So I
Well,
will
because
say,
it's
something
you don't
kinda
see
like
older men with like
That's
tattoos like
true.
that often.
Yeah,
she just wants to
I'm just
Hey,
curious.
Jonathan, pop the top for Sylvia. You know what
well,
I mean?
what's going to happen? We're going to see it because
She already has it saved. When is the
It's
pool
at the pool. The
episode?
pool.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we have my absolute crush, and Mom, I didn't think that he was going to be one of your guys. I love that you love him. It's Jordan. I think Jordan is so cute.
I didn't when I was looking at the flat photos. No, he's a handsome. He's a very handsome guy. But what I liked was he was so he was really kind of shy
Nervous and
nervous.
flabbergasted
So nervous.
and stepping over his words
he
in
was
every ITM.
but he was so cute about it. Now, I don't know, but Janae caught this too. I felt like when he got out of the limo that she was like, he's cute.
Oh, she did a double take kind of?
I felt like with her, she didn't do, besides vocalizing, oh, he's really handsome.
Jonathan and Guy, yeah.
She's really kind of linear in the, I don't know
read.
if she's more a cognitive person, but it wasn't like, none of that. So she keeps the same kind of demeanor, but she kind of had a slight, because even Janae turned and looked at me and she goes, oh, she liked what she saw there. And so I got that
Maybe
impression.
because I was like, ooh, he's
that
so
was
cute.
the impression that I got, that she got, but maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought I picked up.
So I had said during the cast bios, I was like, he just in his photo reminds me of Evan. There's something about the look in his eye, the kind of smirk, and I'm going to stand by it.
Wow, that's interesting because I felt he's big smiles, cute. In some ways, kind of like mousy almost, like where he's kind of like sweet and like and nervous and stepping over his words and like apologizing for being nervous earlier. I don't know.
What he gives me the energy of is, okay, maybe you're not Mr. Smiles, but the energy he gave me is that in real life, in a normal situation, he's very confident, because you saw him with the guys, and the type of guy who can immediately be self-reflective in front of the men. He was like, man, I blew it. That was so bad. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to recover. That's a level of self-awareness and reflectiveness that also he was confident enough to share with the men that he was like, oh man, I just absolutely blew that. And then when he sat down with her, he was like, was that the worst that's ever happened?
I thought that was really cute.
And he gave me, what I was so into about him is that it was so gave me opposite of like fuckboy energy. Like he was so not.
Oh yeah,
he was time. But he gives me charming and funny, and he's very handsome. But at the same time, he was so kind of taken aback by her. I think that's maybe why it reminded me of you, because you're so handsome and confident and charming. But I think when you like somebody, you can be a little. Yeah, you're not you're not Mr. No, you're not Mr. like swaggy, like, no, hey. You can get a little like, like nervous and shy and kind of stumble over like, and I think which to me is super attractive, right? Because it's like, I can read that and you like me.
And he kind of, you could tell he was like, wow, this is, I'm out of my element here. I'm nervous.
Yes.
But I liked it. It was really, to me,
he was endearing.
He was endearing.
He was so endearing. And honestly too, like I love when he sat down with her, when he gave her the sweatshirt for her granddaughter.
I thought that was a great
gift. He's got his daughters, and then they played pickleball, and during pickleball, he stumbled over his words. He hit her in the face. He's doing, there's all these awkward moments, but he gives me big, like movie rom-com energy. Yeah. Like he's the guy who he's by accident hitting her in the face with the ball, but he's so cute and charming, and you fall in love with him. And another side note, when they did the videos,
the support that he gives
he has his daughter who's queer with her girlfriend there, and I was like, I knew I loved him from the moment I saw his face. Where the daughter's girlfriend was like, you have always been.
She's the one that talked the most about him.
She's like, you have always been so supportive of our relationship,
and you're
I'm
the funniest guy we know.
And I'm like, hell yes, we have a king here who is supportive of his queer daughter, like
a boomer who's like all in. It's like beautiful.
I'm like, that's why his energy I think popped off the page for me. Where I'm like, he is my guy.
No, his energy was immaculate.
Yeah, I think he's going at least halfway.
I will say in the previews we didn't see a lot of him.
I also will say
and
he
I'm
didn't
nervous.
like, from the fact that we know about Keith and stuff like that. He's not a big, strong presence. He looks like maybe more of a slight dude. Yeah. And so that's always kind of a 50-50 when
she
it comes
might like
to
that
she
kind
might,
of.
I mean, clearly she does.
Yeah, she chose.
You know what I mean? So that might play against him in that way.
But he may be endearing enough if she gets to know him.
He would have been my first impression rose, no questions asked. Yeah. Like the second he came out, I'm like, there's something about his energy, even though that he was stumbling and it was so nervous.
He's so endearing and so confident at the same time. Yeah.
But okay, next we have Michael. And Michael, another moment he forgot Joan's name, and but he was darling.
He's charming though. You could tell that he kind of.
He's a handsome. He's a really good looking.
The difference for me between him and Jordan, because they both came up and did the nervous thing, was that Jordan was actually nervous.
Yeah.
Michael hit me as someone who kind of is pretty smooth.
He's the private investigator.
Yeah, he hits me as someone who's actually
the PI.
Oh, really?
No, private investor. Katie thought it was private investigator.
That's funny.
Janae wrote
private investigator.
Private investigator.
No, he's an
private
investor. Yeah, very different.
I know. That's what Zitnik thought too.
That is a difference. I mean, you got to be different. Talking about two different types of personalities.
Yeah, private investor.
I thought he was a private investigator the whole
You're like,
time.
He's going to be obsoving this entire
that's so
mansion.
Funny.
I
thought he was super charming. I thought he was a very handsome man. I loved how he rebounded so well with like what's my name?
He's like, I forgot my name.
I thought he played that
also,
really well.
When she sat with him and he had his book of photos of his garden, I'm crying.
Yeah, that was so cute.
He had photos of his garden.
Kind of these blue ones are really rare.
Yeah, he's a real evolved man.
Yes,
you know,
I think
he's a charmer. I think that, like, again, the difference between Jordan is accidentally charming. Yeah. Michael's
But Jordan's
swag
kid
or
said he's the
whatever.
funniest guy they know.
For sure.
So I think Jordan's really funny.
Yeah, no, I'm
and
just
also
talking
we
about
had
the
the moments,
charming.
by the way, which like I literally was living for. I'm like, give me more of this trio. When the guys were doing the entrances, it was Jordan, Pascal, and Gary, and they were kind of like watching the guys and like roasting them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the trio.
Yeah, we love this.
The
This is what
Gary, Pascal, and Jordan. I was
it's a
living.
great, yeah.
But no, Michael seems, I don't know, he's not hitting me as like
No, I don't mean
smooth.
I don't mean smooth in a bad way. I mean actually just like a charming guy who knows how to
Yeah.
speak to people. That's more what
He
I
just
meant.
seems very nice.
I believe that Michael's the one who's been to Lollapalooza, you know, the big music festival.
yeah.
I think 4 times in his 50s.
I
He's got a lot
like.
of
So
youth
he's
vibes.
very, yeah.
I liked how he's tender.
He is very
because
tender.
He teared up a couple times, and at the very end, when his adopted daughter, remember
yeah.
how we talked
Oh
about?
no, that was Dan.
That was Dan.
I think that was Dan.
Am I thinking
Michael
of
and
the
Dan,
wrong-
Dan kind of have a similar
Oh,
look.
Private investors
I'm
too, I think.
totally wrong. I'm thinking of
Oh,
Dan.
Dan, private investor.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person.
thinking
Wait.
of Dan.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Michael, guys.
No. I'm totally messed up.
Michael's down that guy.
Yes, Michael was the one that was funny about his name. He had the 3 kids on the video.
You guys were talking about Dan.
I'm getting confused.
That's why I was like, no. Like,
No, we started off with Michael. Michael was funny about his name and everything.
he was on the-
Okay, but Michael though he's a retired banking CEO, not a
Yes.
private investor. But he was the garden guy.
Yes.
He was the garden
Yes,
guy.
yes, he was
Sorry,
the garden
Michael.
guy. But no, I'm the one that messed up on that because I then am thinking at the end,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's take one more final pause and then keep going. Okay, wait, family. I am so excited to talk to you all about Lisa mattresses. So as you know, I am on a journey to clean out the room. I have still not succeeded yet, okay? But we got a mattress for the room to help motivate me so that my friends would spend the night. So we get a mattress from Lisa, and we currently have it in our room because Evan was gone and I had friends staying with me. People, this mattress is unbelievable, okay? Katie slept on it and was raving about it, and then I slept on it the next night because she kept talking about it, and I had the best sleep ever. It is so comfortable. And then Ember slept on it because she then heard about us talking about it, and now Ember wants it for her room. So now we're all fighting over this Lisa mattress. I cannot get over how comfortable it is. Lisa literally has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. It's incredible.
Yeah, and now that I'm home, it's officially my turn
Evan
to
was
sleep on
gone,
the
so
thing.
now he's on it.
So like no one get in my way. It's my turn. I'm very excited. Using the highest quality materials, Lisa meticulously designs and assembles their mattresses in America for exceptional comfort and support. I saw online that these mattresses have thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews, and Jess won't stop talking about how comfortable it is. Delivery is free, returns are easy, and you have 100 nights to try your mattress in the comfort of your own home.
And with Lisa, your purchase has a purpose. Every year, Lisa donates thousands of mattresses to those in need, with more than 40,000 donated to date. I am so obsessed with the comfort and also the fact that they have so many different options for different sleepers and our own preferences. Go to lisa.com today to order your mattress and check this out. Lisa is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. That's leesa.com. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long, okay? Remember, no matter who you are, there's a Lisa just for you. I'm telling you, people, this mattress is so comfy. I will not let Evan sleep in it tonight. I will be sleeping in it again.
My
and
turn.
I won't let Ember do it either. I will be sleeping in it again. Okay, next we have Thomas. Now there's going to be a few people in this limo that like we really never got any time with nor saw, so we're just going to kind of coast through. We saw Thomas, didn't really see much with him, and then we saw Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, he grabs
Good
her.
time,
He's like,
Gary,
"You look
dude."
gorgeous," and he's dancing. She's like, "Oh, you're shy." He's just coming up and dancing. What an electric personality!
Yeah. And the guy's 65. I swear he looks like a 50-year-old.
I know he
It's
looks
unbelievable.
and his energy.
style.
He's youthful.
Yeah.
He's Tina Turner's
That's I heard that.
godson,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
Crazy.
wild.
He's also, one thing I just want to say about him is obviously I want whatever he has, which is just like endless endorphins and like
Just positivity.
But he was insanely complimentary of her to the other guys. He kind of set the precedent for that.
Yeah.
He was like, she's treated, she's acting like a queen. She's handling this all amazingly. She's style and grace. Like, she's beautiful. Like, he was incredibly just adoring.
And then don't get me started when his family, his daughter and his grandson popped up, and he was like sobbing.
No, that
I'm
guy
like, I
is
can't.
pulsing. He's so present and feeling everything. It's
he's a good personality. I hope he stays for
Me
quite
too,
a while.
me too.
I love the fact too. Remember when the horse went running away and then they just shot in and he was just dying laughing. It's almost like he's so fun. It seems like everything cracks him up.
I just
like
want
he
to beat
gets a
him.
kick out of everything.
And like I said, he's got the trio going with Pascal,
But
Jordan, and
kudos,
him.
he's the guy that needs to be styling everybody on that show.
I was just about to say,
He's got great
impeccable
taste.
Great
taste.
taste.
His glasses, everything.
The glasses
Just-
were everything, and the
his
suit, like
was
it was so, it was
fantastic.
high fashion.
Yeah, no, he was killing it.
And I
Yeah.
can't wait to see his outfits for the rest of
makes
the
sense.
season.
Tina Turner's,
That's
or
true.
whatever. But like
Right.
Godson.
Godson. It's like he's been around some cool shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's
Like,
he's
he
got
knows
some
stuff.
Yeah.
serious style.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch him.
I know. I
for
really
sure.
hope he stays for a long time. He's one of those people, like, regardless of if they, connect well or not, he's someone who you need in the house to keep the love going.
Right,
Like,
right.
he's going to keep everyone,
He's got
like you
great
said,
energy.
keep everyone present
Yes.
in the
Right.
moment.
Yeah.
Next, we have Gregg, which, by the way, who's Gregg? He wasn't in the cast bio list.
Yeah, he's right there. He's on my board.
I saw him on your board, but Mom,
Was he not in the cast bio list?
I don't know how I don't know what's going on, but I went and double checked on our cast list from the
And they forgot
ABC
him?
and he wasn't there. So I don't know
You're talking
how
about Colonel Sanders?
Colonel Sanders.
Vice president of he's a university
Yeah,
retired
he's Colonel
vice
Sanders.
president.
He's
Yeah.
literally wearing Colonel Sanders' suit almost.
And not only that, his energy is he kept talking about he's like, well, she is so elegant.
He
will do
he
very
thought she
well
was
at the
beautiful.
country club. But he was
Yeah.
very like he seems like he came from big money.
Yeah,
it was
he's
very
wearing a
like
white suit with black shirt. I mean, who does that?
They showed never a lot with him, but they showed lots of little snippets where he's always complimenting her.
Yeah.
yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
But it's also the compliments are always very like about her grace. Like he's very much giving me the guy who's like, I do a lot of events and I go to a lot of fundraisers and Joan will be fabulous on my
Yes,
arm. Like he was
yes.
giving me that. He seemed like a nice guy, but he was giving me, I don't think he's going to stay around for a long time. But I also was like, who's Gregg? And so sorry, Gregg, we didn't talk about you in our cast bios.
Oh, when you guys did
because
it.
he's not on
Gotcha.
he wasn't on our list and I looked on the
Oh.
website. He wasn't on
Yeah.
the list. So sorry, Gregg. Didn't mean to not
Sorry,
include
Gregg.
you. Gregg with 2 G's. Next up, we have Pablo.
Who
Pablo
we
hit up
barely
my mom.
Ever saw Pablo?
We didn't see him at all.
Your
We
future
thought we were gonna get a lot from
stepdad.
him, but
and he
nothing.
has
Future
he has an accent, and you know what I loved? I mean, we didn't see anything.
We thought Pablo and Pascal were going to be the two
Best friends.
but no, they didn't show.
No,
They
but what
picked
I
one.
did love was they didn't even show us like Pablo talking really to Joan.
or even a
what
little backstory,
he
him
did
in the
do.
UN and stuff, like nothing.
I know this guy is like you know what he is? He's I forgot what he.
He's an EMT volunteer.
No, yeah, but he's like a
UN
what is it?
ambassador
No,
or something.
like a degree in like bioengineering
bioengineering.
Yeah,
or whatever.
He runs
This is a
ultra marathons.
brilliant-
Renaissance
This is a
man.
brilliant man. What I did love about him, so the only thing I really can say was I love because this is so Euro, and this is the other thing is. Family, if you know of a man, a Swiss man who loves Jesus, that's the other type.
So,
that's-
our
if
family
it's
is
not
Swiss.
Pablo,
Okay, Mom.
but I speak Swiss German.
Our family is very Swiss German, and Mom, spent many years growing up in Switzerland.
Well, and just-
she would
I
like,
love-
and
I'd
all
like
of,
to go back and
and all
forth.
of our
so if
families.
you know a Swiss
all
Satanist,
of our family,
that's not going to work.
yeah, that's not going to
So
work.
all of our families over in Switzerland. So Mom would
Yes.
like to go live in
Now
Switzerland.
that I'm retired, I'd like somebody that likes to come to Orange County. I'm near the ocean, which is a plus. And somebody that's over in Switzerland, I'll just go back and forth. But he's
Perfect.
got to love Jesus. So that's the only thing.
He's a caveat. I don't know about Pablo's
The thing about
religious
Pablo,
beliefs.
what I did like though, which was so Euro, was when he said goodbye to her, he kissed her on both sides.
love
I
that.
know. I
Yeah,
noticed
did you
that
notice
too. I
that?
was like,
yeah.
ugh,
yeah. But
love
that was
Pablo.
it. That was all we really saw.
yeah.
So
Can
Pablo
we-
hit up my mom.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, no. I'm just saying. I'm just waiting for one person, and I just want to
I know.
you
We're
what I mean?
almost there. We got one more. Next, we have Bob. Bob showed up with a video camera.
Oh, my
and he's like, kids,
gosh.
it's Dad.
Is the cutest
Bad
person.
luck, Bob, though.
Oh, got struck by lightning.
He got struck by
Well,
lightning.
and then he said later, he goes, hopefully lightning can strike twice. And I go, hey,
like,
man,
Bob,
of all the
you
people
died
that can
from
say that,
lightning. Don't
you
say
shouldn't say that.
I'm like, if a guy is like, I'm on a coffee date for the first time, and he tells me he gets struck by lightning, I'm not typically
maybe we
superstition,
shouldn't
but
do that.
But you're scared.
But that's a little bit like, are you a guy that like bad luck follows everyone?
Right. When getting struck by lightning does feel
It's so rare.
like the universe is trying to do something.
I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
poor
Like,
guy. It's not his fault.
He's
he
surfing
was
with his
sweet.
kids
And he's so
His kids are
positive.
sweet.
Yeah. But the video camera was kind of wild to me. It looked a little horror movie-ish when they
well,
were
he was
showing
just
it
trying to be
through the
old
lens.
guy
Yeah,
vibes.
yeah.
But I'm
And-
saying they made it look
was
like a horror movie.
camcorder. It was a big camcorder, wasn't it?
Camcorder, yeah.
Camcorder, so like kind of like from the 80s
Yeah,
almost.
that was the
I thought
idea was
she was awesome. She goes, "Hi, kids."
Yeah.
You
She's
know,
like,
he kind of
hello.
does that. She did well with that.
He's just a jolly
Just
sweet
Yeah.
man.
A sweet
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
No, seems like a lovely man. Okay. Next,
Jack.
we have Jack.
Oh my God, a freaking pool. She's freaking hot. That's what he says. That's what he says. So he's like, the end is near. Let's do it. And then he looks at it, he's like, oh. He's like, I'm not trying to do it my way anymore. I'm trying to do it our way.
Oh no, it was.
You know what's so crazy?
He walks away from me. Oh, freaking hot.
That was the thing that your sister was like, she almost fell off the chair just because it was kind of classy.
Oh my
until
God.
all of a sudden
He's
he
like,
said
"She's
that, and she
freaking
was
hot."
like,
He
taken
literally
back by
is.
that.
If you were to put into Chat GPT,
Funny.
what is a retired guy who lives in Florida
He's Chicago.
on a boat? You know what I mean? From Chicago, but I just see him living in Florida. He sold his condo, lives on a boat.
On a boat.
Eats shrimp, has cocktails all day. Like my favorite line, this guy is, when he was on the chopping block
I don't
at the
think
end.
we've ever seen anyone like such a character like Jack.
When he was on the chopping block at the end, I was almost yelling. I
was panicking.
I was freaking out.
I
Because I
was
was like, if you
panicking.
cut him, I'm done with this show.
Yeah, they got to have his personality.
But my favorite thing he did, there's so many, but my number one favorite thing, and it was very small and very fast, is Pascal is talking in the group in his French accent.
Oh.
And Jack just goes, I love French shit. he goes, they got this guy, and he's trying to speak in some sort of French accent. I love French shit.
He goes, this guy, I could listen to him talk all day. I love this French shit.
I
funny.
love this French shit.
I think he had I like when he walked in and he goes, "Where's the bourbon?"
Yeah, where's the bourbon?
And it's like, you know what I thought? As soon as he walked in the house and he goes, "Where's the bourbon?" And I knew he was a caterer too. I thought, oh my God, this is like Susan and him from last.
Mom, I literally
Him and
paused
Susan.
the episode and I go, Susan
Oh, wow.
and Jack
Those
would be
two-
phenomenal
That's electric.
together.
No, and they both are always in the kitchen because that's their love language.
Yes.
Is like,
Yes.
I'm going to cook for you.
And she's like, it
and-
was the guacamole.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, the two
I'm
of them
just like,
together.
They got to bring her on if he's still on.
If they don't fall in love, meet and fall in love, they need to start like a cooking show together.
Oh, they're
Yes.
Susan and
hysterical.
Jack and Susan, because her personality, I'm like, those two could fall in love, and like you could just see them giving each other shit all the time, and just having
Just
the
have so much fun
best
together.
When
time
there's a couple
ever.
shows I want, but in addition to that one, I want a show where where Jack is he goes on with a real estate agent, and he just all he does is tours bougie houses, and he's the one that tells people about what's in the house, because he's I got a freaking pool. I've been in some nice places, but never this nice. And he goes, look at the candles. I have 92 candles. Like he just was like,
Yeah,
he's
he
the
was
guy you can't take
fun.
anywhere because he's gonna embarrass you. Like you're like, if you're like, hey, Jack, I work in the music industry. I'm going to take you to a concert. There's going to be some famous people there.
Yeah.
Play it
Keep
cool.
it cool.
He's going to go, oh, frick, there's John Bon Jovi. I love this freaking guy. Oh, hey, John, get over here. You know, I've been listening to your shit for 30 years. And you're like, Jack, stop it.
Jack is the guy that like I would love. You know, often you say, oh, I don't want to like, you know, have to deal with that guy in the bar who's talking my ear off. I'm like, I would live to run into Jack at a bar. I'm
my
like,
God.
he'd make your night the best night ever.
Jack's having a, what do you call it? a Bloody Mary at 6 a.m. at the Florida bar.
Jack is having a hot girl summer in this mansion. He is like, and we saw the preview of one of the guys being like, all he cares about is doing like cannonballs into the pool.
He's here for the cannonballs, I think.
Yeah, I don't care. If anyone comes for Jack about being here for the wrong reasons, let Jack live, okay? Jack is living his best life, even if he's not connecting with Joan. This man is so happy to be where he is at. Let him live his truest life, okay?
And on top of that, he's giving us a gift because his personality is a gift.
It's everything.
It's a gift.
It's everything. You know what's so funny?
He cooked a full-blown 5-star meal.
When they showed him in the chef's outfit.
Sauce.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I'm like, also, what a doll.
Yeah.
What a great idea to sit in there and be like making this gorgeous meal and then present it to her. And it's like, here's what I do. Here's how I show someone that I love them. And then also too, I was dying because during our cast bio episode, from his photo, I was like, I'm going to call him No Words Jack. He's going to be the guy who doesn't speak at all. And it was like, this man is all words Jack. Like this man never stops talking. And when he came out of the limo, first of all, the fact that he chose to sing My Way is such a wild thing to sing at somebody. Like, this is not a romantic song.
He sang the whole song too.
You're talking about, you're literally going up to her and being like, the end is near. And you're like,
gonna die.
like, why are you singing? And she handled it so well, but you could tell she wanted him to stop. She like at one point grabbed his hands and was like shaking them like, all right, are we done?
Because he sang half the tune and then he got to her and then he finished the song.
Staring into her eyes. But when he walked away and he was so cute and he was like,
I think I did good.
I think I did a really good job.
I think she really liked me.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I did really, really well. You know what I thought was really sweet at the very end too, when it was down to those last few roses and she took that break and then they cut into him and he goes, well, I sure hope it's me, but you know, somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
He was just so like,
I mean,
he's here for a good time.
Yeah,
Jack's here for a good time.
Jack, what I love about Jack is like you go over to Jack's house, you're gonna have the best cocktail of your life.
Best cocktail.
You're gonna have the best cheese plate ever. Like he's the best guy to hang out with because he knows all. He's gonna be like, there's this freaking place. Oysters are incredible. We gotta go there.
Aphrodisiac.
Yeah, you know, get the thing going a little bit.
My date's freaking hot.
Yeah, I love frickin'. Everything's got a frickin' pool. Like so.
Yeah, he's almost
great.
like a Jersey
He
guy.
is gonna be
Chicago.
He's gonna be so Chicago.
Huh?
He's gonna be so excited for every date, which I'm so thrilled about. Like,
look at this freaking. Yeah,
even if it's a group date, everybody else is complaining they didn't get a one-on-one.
Jack's gonna be
He likes
thrilled.
he's gonna like the group date better anyway.
Oh yeah,
because he's gonna be with the guys.
He's gonna love hanging out with the guys. And then at one point when they just kept doing quick cuts, and I was like crying, laughing. Because it would just be quick cuts of Jack with the men. And at one point after he comes in, he's in there for 5 minutes and he has the whole cast of men singing, I did it my way.
100%.
Yeah, he's
I love him.
fun.
And I'm going to be real with you. Any guy that has a problem with Jack is going to be on my shit list.
Yes.
Because if you're focusing on Jack being there for the wrong reasons, I'm like, get over yourself, okay? He clearly is, it's not like him and Joan have this insane chemistry connection. He's a good time. So leave the man alone. If you come for Jack, you're going to come for me. Like, I'm going to have a problem with you because Jack is just here for a good time. And let's now talk about Jack's best friend.
Yes.
and
Charles L.
The funny part that I thought was such a contrast. You went from the loudest guy in the room, that guy gets out of the limo, to suddenly the quietest guy.
Even the way he gets out, he like adjusts his jacket and then moves forward.
Just moving kind of slowly.
But they did the same thing. They both went through the house in their own way, and we're like, look at all this cool stuff.
They're like so similar and so different. When Charles was walking through and checking the burners, and he was like, and he was hitting the marble.
And he grabs a pot and goes, it's real.
Yeah, the La Crusette or however they pronounce it. And then he opens it. He goes, look at all the meat.
Yeah.
The meat. He is so cute about like, they told me I'm going to be in a mansion. Yeah. Just like he is so, what I love? Like, this is a man that has what I get the impression, a lot of great gratitude.
Yeah.
Just so grateful. And that was the other time I cried, was when they did his intro about his wife passing away and that he was so sad and he was lonely. And then,
But I love how he transitioned it into Joan by saying, "You're going to be in charge."
Not Charles
he
in
goes,
charge.
not Charles in charge,
Joan
but
is in
Joan in
You
charge.
can tell maybe his ex was also that way. He's like, "Listen, I operate this way. My ex was in charge. You'll be in
It's
charge.
not me."
I'm totally
Yeah.
fine with
But
that."
do you know who Charles reminded me of, Mom?
He's just so sweet.
I couldn't stop laughing, and my heart was so full watching him because he reminded me so much of Nana. So Nana
really?
is my grandma, my mom's mom, because just like Nana, they're literally like angelic. Like there's this angelic presence
Yes.
and gentleness and gratitude and love to them. But then also Charles would be like, "Well, I'm 66, but I look 36."
Right.
Yeah, he was
And he'd
low
be
key
like-
like, "I'm hot."
And he'd be
Yeah.
like, you know,
I
not.
think I
and
look
he
pretty
goes,
good.
and not to brag, I'm very handsome.
Yes.
And it reminded me of
Yeah,
my Nana,
sense of
because my
humor.
Nana would be like, she was so gentle and so just like caring of everyone around her, and just like, "Oh, hello, everyone is so wonderful, and the world is so beautiful. But have you seen legs like mine?"
Yeah.
I have my 92 years old. Look at these feet.
Nana would just
Every doctor with her Swiss accent.
Every
Every
doctor.
doctor tells me they can't believe my feet. I have
Nana
the most
would be-
beautiful, perfect
She's
feet.
like the most humble, lovely, like angel. And then every once in a while she'd be like, "But I'm the most
Yeah.
beautiful."
And she'd be sitting there on the couch talking and be like, "The sunsets of the Lord are beautiful. Evan, can you come take my picture in front of the sunset?" And then I'd be like sitting there doing a photo shoot, and she's like posing,
And
and
she'd
like,
be like, "I'm going to send this to everyone so they can
yeah,
see
she would get
how
like
good I
headshots
look."
done at 92 years old to like
Yeah.
send out to be like, "By the way, I'm still hot, FYI."
Yeah, I can see why he kind of reminds
He
you of her because they're
reminds
both
me-
really funny
They're
with not
so
being funny.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what. There's something
But
really.
There's
This-
and then there's a
Yeah.
gentleness, but there's like this
Yeah.
little quippy
Yeah.
sense of humor where they're like, "But I'm
little bit.
kind of amazing."
But this is the other show I want.
Oh,
I want Charles L. and Jack to do like a Jersey Shore type show where they're like in a condo together and they're just out on the town dating every night. Like I want to see Jack and Charles are like talking to a woman together, and like they're both like telling each other how to like go tell her this or go talk to her, or like I'm gonna go to dinner. Like them living together, cooking, and like their dynamic is so funny.
their
to
friendship
me.
is everything to me. The fact then that like Jack set up the dinner and then Charles followed through with the tea and dessert. Like they
Yes.
did it like
Yes.
together.
Yeah, tandem in the
They're
kitchen.
a dynamic duo, and I
He
am
tried the food and it was amazing.
obsessed with them. They're like my two faves. I'm obsessed with them. I can't, Charles L. I hope you go a long way, my friend. I need Jack and Charles L. in the house for a long time. Next we had Guy, aka Mitt Romney, like Mom said,
Mitt.
Surgeon, ER surgeon.
ER physician.
God, who doesn't want at 64? Are you kidding? To have a retired. He's not working those horrible hours
yeah.
anymore. But to have an ER doc.
To, like, to help me if I need help.
They're rich.
I used
They
to
can
be
help
a
you with all
nurse,
your medical problems
but
as you get older.
They were my
I mean,
favorite
it's-
doctors.
The
They've
ER
always
doctors.
been my favorite doctors. The ER
How many
guys.
did you hook up with?
I didn't.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah,
What a
no,
tragedy.
no.
You really
They
missed
were
your
all married.
opportunity.
It's really too
Yeah.
bad. But he's like, "Hey," when he came out the limo, he was like, "Hey, we can make a diagnosis off of the sense of smell." And I was like,
And then he
"Is that true?"
Sprays the cologne.
But I liked the cologne. The
Yeah.
cologne was good. He's like,
Yeah.
"Remember, Guy." In their interactions together, she definitely thinks he's a hottie. He's way more like gentle and kind of not reserved, but more of that energy than I thought he was
Yeah.
going to be.
Same here. That's funny because when you look at the bio picture,
Yeah.
he's leaning against the chair or whatever with his arms across his chest. He looks like I didn't
I thought he was going to
expect.
kind of be kind of like arrogant,
Big
serious.
ego.
I-
yeah, God
yeah, I didn't
complex
think so
energy.
much. I thought he'd come across. I thought his voice would be different.
Yeah.
I kind of a stronger voice
Like
and
a
a
Keith
little
voice,
more, a little more powerful. I don't want to say
But he's kinda
arrogant. I don't think,
soft-spoken.
but he
He's
was
kinda
quieter.
sweet, yeah.
He was actually a lot. I think he was maybe nervous too.
Sure.
But he was quieter than what I thought. My impression of his was on just a flat picture. I was expecting a different energy, a little bit, a bigger kind of strong, more alpha kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that when
No,
he.
I liked his energy a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
I think
it
I-
just was different than what
Yeah.
Than what you saw from the
I
picture.
thought on print.
Well, I think he'll
We'll
do
see.
well. He'll do well. Next, we have Charles K. with that gorgeous burgundy jacket. He came out with the cane into push-ups. I don't love the joking about the cane, all that personally. That's, not for me. But he seems like a lovely guy. Jack was making me laugh where he's like, son of a bitch, he's in better shape than me.
Right. Yeah. Freaking push-ups. Are you freaking kidding me? But what I did like about Charles a lot though is how like incredibly smiley and sweet he was.
Seems personable.
And also like there were times when the guys were joking around and he was like grabbing the guys and hugging them. Like he just seemed incredibly like, I don't know. I was getting joy off of just watching
he's definitely
him.
like friend. Like he's like going to make friends with the men in the house.
Like the guy you want to be around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then we had Ken. He's like, I'm from Boston. You're wicked awesome. That's really all we saw from Ken. Dan, he came out with the glasses. He's like, dang girl, you look good. We saw a little bit of Dan over the night. He also seems like a lovely guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who had the adopted daughter.
Yes, he's the one that
I was
cried.
crying.
Yeah.
He's really cute, I think.
He's very cute.
He's got the girls, and I don't know, there seems something
I think
tender
we'll
about
see
him.
more of Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I feel like might go far. That video from his adoptive daughter was very emotional, and just seeing when she's like, my dream was to have a dad, and that was powerful. And I felt like him and Joan had a very flirty chemistry
she
with their
seemed
sit
to
down.
Enjoy her time with him or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like they had a good chemistry. Then we had Christopher, who he was like, this experience is irregular, so I brought prune juice to take a shot in.
Okay,
That
I'd rather take a tablespoon of Chock's than
Soup.
She was a good sport. That was like this tall where she downed that prune juice.
Oh, and then you're like, I'm going to be in the bathroom all night now.
Because they do that thing till dusk in the morning. I thought, oh, good sport. To down prune juice all of a sudden, that could really mess
Also,
you
I'm
up.
like, I
thought it was a little corny.
I don't love starting with
and it's like,
poop
don't talk
humor.
about poop stuff.
I don't love the poop humor.
He is a very beautiful man.
Yeah, he's extremely handsome, but I'm like,
yeah, I would have passed on that too.
Yeah,
but I mean, in fairness, it's always so stressful trying to come up with something funny.
It was creative, but it was just like, I don't live for poop. For poop humor.
Puke humor.
Even though
Puke
we
humor.
are obsessed with bowel issues when we're our age,
Right.
unfortunately.
There's always
It's
stuff
just
like
an
that, yeah.
It's just
issue,
part of
but-
what life entails. But it's just
Yeah.
more like on your first romantic meet.
No,
I don't
on
necessarily
national television.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about my bowel movements.
Right.
Then we have RJ. We don't really see much of RJ. So tall. He's like, I heard you're looking for a man in finance. 6'5",
6'5".
blue
Well, isn't that a
eyes.
song?
Yes.
It's
I
like
thought I thought that was cute.
That was cute. It was cute.
He was being young.
Yes.
It was sweet.
I
It was
thought
like
that was really cute.
clearly
that
like his kids or whatever are like telling him
and
about
Joan's a TikTok queen, so she
she
right away
knows
knew because
about
that's
it.
a big song.
See,
a sound on
I
TikTok.
had no idea.
it. And she was doing the words
I
with
didn't
him,
know
right?
it was a song. Janae right away.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that. So that would have been lost on me.
Right.
But
I'm
like I
not on
said, but
TikTok
Joan's
either.
a big TikTok
Yeah.
queen,
Yeah.
so I think it's like
Right.
That's
She's
way
way
up
more
on it.
up to relevant things.
Next we have Gil. Gil, he throws a ball at her and he says, I heard you're a great catch.
Yeah.
He is the guy who I right away saw that I was like, that guy's from Orange County, and I was right.
Yeah.
Want to touch on a few things quickly. Number one, I just saw in Batch Nation Scoop that there's like photo evidence of a restraining order against Gil. I don't know when, and I think it was a recent one. I don't know how the show is going to handle this. They need to handle this.
Yeah.
And off of that, I do want to have a moment and discuss. Evan's obviously been, so we recorded the last few episodes early. Evan was gone, so we recorded them earlier. So we're like behind on all the news. But obviously, what has now come forefront, I mentioned earlier with everything going down with Jen, is that Devin, her final choice, who, the entire season, we were like, we don't like this guy. Well, there's more than not like. I believe Reality Steve reported on the fact that Devin, there's restraining orders that are out about Devin with an ex. He broke the restraining orders. He caught them on fire. There was theft with this ex-girlfriend. I believe it was an ex-girlfriend. I'm so sorry. I'm just now like finding out. I'm catching up on all this. But like very serious stuff. This is on top of then, we were going to discuss, and hopefully we will in the upcoming days here, discuss what his post where he posted private intimate messages with Jen. And now we find out about this restraining order, which is horrific. So the caveat I wanted to talk about is the casting process, okay? Number one, this show needs to make a statement. After the fact that we have Devin on Jen's season and then also the Marcus allegations, but now we have these restraining orders regarding Devin, the show needs to make a statement about this. And they also need to make a statement and talk about how they're going to change their casting process, because how this man got through is not okay. It doesn't make any sense. How did this man get through? Some of the things were sealed, but some of it was also public knowledge. They need to talk about how they're going to change and improve this casting process to protect the lead and also the other contestants on the show, and also people at home who are viewing this, like who have experienced this with these people that are currently on this show. It's so horrific. So I don't know. I saw this then about Gil post on Batch Nation Scoop, and I'm like, ABC, The Bachelor, production team, whoever, casting group, this needs to change and this needs to be talked about. We need to address it, and we need to figure out casting processes if we're going to move forward with this show, because this is not something that you can put your leads and your contestants in this situation. So anyway, just a caveat. I'm sorry. I literally just saw this post about Gil. And so now it's like, okay, what are we going to do now? Bachelor, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Anywho.
So to kind of dovetail, I don't really have much to say, regardless of everything about what you just saw with Gil. I didn't really have anything much.
We didn't really see Gil. And my point though being is like, okay, Bachelor, are we now going to edit this man out of the show? I don't know how long his progression is on it, but like, are we going to edit this out? What are we going to do? Are we going to address this? Because it needs to be taken care of, especially again in protection. And we're also, and Evan and I talked about this earlier, we're also talking about things that involve a dangerous thing for a woman.
Right.
These are what these are going, like the restraining
we're not talking
orders.
about like tax evasion or something.
We're not talking about a fucking
like
Ponzi scheme. We're talking about something that is
directly related to what
unsafe
we're
for
doing
a woman.
here. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, okay. But I just had to make that caveat.
So bye, Gil.
So bye, Gil.
Who's next?
Chop, chop, chop. Next we have Bill. We don't really see much of Bill. He talks about his daughters, and he said he just told his daughters, don't call if you're running out of money, which I thought was funny. And Bill was very cute, but Bill does get eliminated ultimately.
Yeah.
And then another guy who gets eliminated is David, who on our cast bio, Aunt Katie couldn't stand. She saw this man and she was like, had a vendetta against him. Well, she ends up, Joan chops David, so we're not going to know much of David, but he comes in on a horse. The horse runs away.
I liked him. I was hoping he would stay around. He seemed kind of like a different energy. He seemed a little more mysterious rancher energy, and I was a little sad when he left. But we'll see.
The horse.
I wasn't.
Didn't do anything for you.
No, but it wasn't that. It was because it was something that I read about when they asked his opinion about what's the most important thing, and he talked about chemistry, which of course chemistry matters, but he got into a lot of detail about it's got to be really lustful and everything.
Oh wow!
And so they at least underneath this bio, the word lust, I'm just like,
so horny David's gone.
Either you're projecting because you had a really bad situation with your ex, and nothing's happening in the bedroom, which that makes sense. But I'm not at our age. It's like Joan's been with a man who's been on hospice, dying of cancer. We understand what our priorities are. Chemistry is one thing. To be like lust, I read that and I was like,
and I'm sorry, even at a young age, I'm like, when that's the priority, that's a red flag.
So
in my opinion.
I was just like,
so horny David's out.
Horny David's out. The men are laughing as his horse runs away.
That was hysterical.
And then we have Keith. Keith comes
in the
out
car
with his station wagon. He says he's like, you notice me? I'm loud. I'm 6'5". I'm a big guy. He's the girl dad, which Evan nailed. We find out that he did take his girls because his ex-wife had a problem with addiction.
Yeah, that's sad, and God
Which
bless
is
him.
really intense. Yeah. And he stepped in and took care and did what was best for his girls. Mm-hmm. And he right away, he got her to sit on that hood of his car and was talking about driving to the coast. He
created a vision, and I thought that was really good. He did create a vision.
And man, when they spent time together, I was like, oh,
you saw it.
I see this.
The dude's
Well, she
voice
even
is
said,
so booming too.
she goes, oh my gosh,
Ooh.
this makes me feel hopeful.
Yeah.
She goes, he makes me feel safe. And then she made the comment about how I could see myself like spending a future or time with him
someone
or
like that,
whatever
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
So he was kind of a sleeper for me when with this whole board, and
Yeah.
I was looking at this a week beforehand. You know, you're only seeing like the physical part. You don't know much about it, and all of a sudden, the way he kind of came out, he was this very caring, dynamic, you know, just fun, nice, wonderful guy.
When they were talking, I was like, there was an excitement in both of them that was like, oh, they could talk for
I felt like it was
forever.
done.
It was like these two could
Like I
sit.
saw them together.
They could sit and talk for the rest of their lives together. There was like an excitement and flow in their energy where they seemed like they'd known each other for forever.
He's the only guy that got a kiss, didn't he?
He got
Nobody
a
else got a
smooch.
kiss.
Yeah.
He got a
Only him.
smooch, right?
He got a
kinda-
smooch.
she kinda
and she
melted-
grabbed his face too. It was so sweet.
She kind of melted into him.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if he's going to be like an end gamer for her. Maybe he is somebody that's like the BFF almost. You're the guy that makes me feel super, super comfortable versus I don't know if there was a lot of chemistry connection there so much.
Versus like you've made me feel comfortable in this process, and I'm
Maybe.
like to open up like the relaxed.
That's a little
Interesting.
more what I kind of
Okay.
felt more like, oh, phew, you're kind of my safety net for the night. I'm so grateful for you. But as time
Maybe not the
progresses, maybe not a little bit as she gets to know
Interesting.
different people. Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought he was. I mean,
But he was very-
is so lovely
and
like,
fun.
and he's
Yeah.
fun. He's easy to talk to. I felt like I could be like, oh, I could sit in a room with this guy. Like if you brought Keith home, I'd be so happy. I'm like, I can sit at a dinner table and talk to Keith about
He
everything.
just seemed like a good guy.
Yeah.
I agree.
And like she said, they had so much in common. They were like throwing bags. They were doing the cornhole. And it was like, all I want. And she said that she's like, all I want is to like drive to the ocean and have wine and cheese. I'm
Right.
like, that's what I want in my life. So yes, maybe the Pascal, even though it sounds romantic, isn't necessarily what she's looking for.
No.
But more of a Keith, like a station wagon energy. It's like,
Yes.
I'm a grandma. I love my family, but I do want to have still romance and excitement in my life. But maybe the excitement isn't flying across the country. It's like sitting on the hood of our car and being teenagers again.
I get the impression that Joan is kind of my impression of her is she is this incredibly elegant, sophisticated,
Yes.
intelligent woman with a lot of class and has really great taste.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, she likes the really simple,
Yeah.
kind of some of the,
Yes.
she appreciates kind of not necessarily the
down-to-earth,
bougie
yes.
things in life.
Yeah.
But when you physically look at her, you look at her home, you look at everything
Yeah, and
she
you're like,
does.
oh, it's a
She
presidential
does
candidate,
have-
but-
so I feel like the guy that she's going to need to pick maybe
Middle
is going to
ground.
have a little bit in the middle.
I felt the exact
bit.
same way. I felt like that's
don't know
where
if he has
that's where like
quite
the
all of
Mark
that.
comes in a little bit. Is like Mark represents a little bit of the like hometown vibe, but also seems like he has a majestic kind of like has taste. Keith hits me as like all American kind of like station wagon guy, and so there's a lot of comfort there. But Joan hits me as a little bougie. She talks about the beach house. She
I think
talks. She has
she's a
nice
combination.
things.
Yeah.
I don't mean bougie in a bad way. I mean more
Yeah,
like in a way
yeah.
like she does
Yeah.
appreciate nice things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Keith's the guy that's going to be like, oh, I got this new wine that's really delicious. He's going to
Right.
be more like, I just like, you know what I mean? A little more of a
Yeah.
beer
Well,
guy.
well,
you know?
then let's transition and talk about Mark.
Yeah.
JP, he's like, you're done. Actually, wait, there's a
Oh,
surprise.
Mark, this is is it Kelsey?
Yeah.
Yes, and he's like, we got a final
Kelsey's
surprise, and
dad.
Kelsey comes out of the limo, which was
Yes.
so cute. By the way, she is just
She's
Yeah.
darling.
such
yeah.
a doll, and she's like Joan,
This is my
I loved
dad.
you, and I wanted you to meet my dad,
Yeah.
and it was so cute.
Yes.
And then literally Zeus himself,
Zeus,
a literal
Triton.
a god of the sea, like
He
he's
literally looks like a Greek god. He's like,
this man comes out, and I mean, does he do it for you? Because I'm literally like, I'm
He seems,
fainted
you know what?
on the
I
floor.
know nothing about him whatsoever except just at the very end when they went to hometowns, when
Yeah.
Joey went
Yeah,
to hometowns.
sure.
But that's all I ever saw. So I didn't watch a lot of, I don't know if you know how they do the last show where then all,
After the
where
final
they,
rose?
they bring in the parents a lot of times.
There really wasn't much.
There wasn't
more.
much
Oh, there
more.
wasn't?
No.
Yeah. So I haven't been really following, even though it seems like everybody's talking about him all the time. People seem to just love him.
Because I think they're like, well, he
so
looks like
he seems
a
like
god.
a very, just a really, I mean, I just, from what I saw, especially on the previous, when she was on, his daughter, he just seems like such a supportive dad.
Yeah.
And just, I like him a lot too.
When he came out, it's the man, the myth, the legend. Like, talk about pressure. They're like, by the way, you've got a big surprise here. And he has to walk out, and he handled the pressure so well. I felt like I'd be absolutely dripping in sweat. And when they did then the ITM or the video montage of him, and he was like, Kelsey was saying everyone's doing thirst traps of me, and I don't know what that means, because everyone was just like, daddy, he's so hot. He in that video, he said that his wife told him to move on, and he said oh my gosh, and he said it's been hard because he knew what perfect was. He knows what perfect is after being with his wife.
One thing that I like about that is the fact that Joan and him have that parallel story of really having met. Well, and they had solid relationships. It wasn't like, I was married. It was just okay. They both felt like they both met their love match. And I think having that would be a good positive thing, because you're not jealous. You totally can understand.
Yep.
It's not threatening. And then and both of them, it was interesting. I think it was both. She said it and he said it. They use that same line about, but there's still space in my heart.
I was about to say,
I think they both
Mark said, he's
made
like,
that comment.
My wife filled my heart completely, but I think there's still room. And Joan almost said the exact same thing. Then we see in the preview where he's like, I saw a hummingbird. And Kelsey had talked about how they saw hummingbirds after her mom died.
We get the hawk, we get the hummingbird.
Yeah, and Mark was like, I saw a hummingbird, and I felt like my wife was telling me like, we're on the right path. And then we saw a preview where she's kissing him, and she's like, I love you.
Was that Franken bit? I don't know.
No, I don't think it was.
Because that seems crazy to just drop that in the preview.
I think they're letting us get excited.
Okay, wow, because that's
that
wild.
was him, wasn't it?
It was
that she
him.
They
actually
were kissing, and she's like, I love you.
If we see her kissing him, saying I love you, it makes me feel like he's not the final guy, but is maybe like top 2 or top 3, which means, Mom, he's probably going to be the Bachelor, so maybe we apply. If Pablo doesn't slide into the DMs, I'm gonna keep trying, because Mark, I'm like, what a guy. But I mean, everything about his energy just makes me feel like you're in a warm hug. Like, he is just.
Well, he definitely would be a good choice to have as a Golden Bachelor, for sure. Yeah.
He would be an amazing Golden
if
Bachelor.
if nothing pans out for him.
And then when he walked back in, and by the way, those teeth.
No, incredible.
Those teeth, those hands, that face. But when he walked back in, or when he walked into the mansion, and Joan looked at Kelsey, and she's like, he's so cute. And she's like, thank you. You can just call me Mom. It was so cute.
That was
cute. She goes, you can just call me Mom.
Yeah,
that
she's
was
playful
so,
that way.
And the two of them actually have very similar, like Kelsey and Joan have kind of they look like they could even be like mother-daughter.
Yeah. Yeah,
kind
big
of
time.
interesting.
Wait, did you say those teeth, those hands?
Yeah.
You saw his hands?
Yeah, he was like applying like gel to his beard and
I
hair.
didn't notice his hands.
And
I
his-
did
and
notice.
his
I think he has caps.
Well,
for sure,
I mean,
for
yeah,
sure.
the veneers perhaps,
Yeah.
but the teeth
nice
look great.
hands.
Well, he
You're
has
a hand. Yeah, you like.
I
you do
love a
like,
hand,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
has these gorgeous hands, and also the hands were.
I didn't notice the
just
hands.
like he's just like so masculine
Yeah,
energy. The
yeah.
hand could hold the world.
Yes,
That's what it looks like.
100%.
Jessica's just in love. Evan,
Yes.
sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm in love with him. He's like Atlas.
She's
he could
always
carry
liked
the
older men,
world.
as
Yes,
you,
of
we
course.
warned you about
I'm
that.
fine.
The
I can
family
handle it.
heard
I'll get
about
old
this
one day.
recently for the first time. That
we
yes,
always-
indeed, I do enjoy
The
it.
family knows that when she was in second grade, she had a bunny, and in second grade, she called the bunny Harrison Ford because she was madly in love
And
with
Harrison Ford was
Harrison.
45
The bunny
at
was
this
called
point.
It was Han
Harrison.
Solo. It was Indiana Jones. I've always
Yeah.
had a crush. What can I say? I'm a voice person. I liked his
Yeah,
voice.
he does have a very distinct voice.
I like voices,
Yes.
Yeah.
which, by the way, I
Yes.
noticed about Jordan. I love Jordan's voice.
Yes, he has a
love
good voice.
Jordan's voice.
It's funny you say that because I noticed
He's
that
got
too.
a great
Yes.
voice, and I right away and you have an amazing voice.
I don't want to hear about it.
Evan has a great voice. I love Evan's voice. Okay, so then, like we discussed, we get all the men. She gets to know them. The first impression rose is given to Keith. He gets a kiss. It is like amazing. And it was so sweet too, because then all the guys were shaking his hand after. It's just such a good energy.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Jen's season, where I'll be real with you. First night of Jen's season, we were like, I don't like any of these guys.
Yeah, it was brutal.
And
it was literally
like,
the opposite.
By the way, and it's like, just shout out to Jen. What a queen. Crushing it on
But we
Dancing with the
literally first night
Stars.
was
We
like,
love you, Jen.
By the
And the
way,
men
I
were
watched
just-
her Dancing with the Stars. She did great.
She's phenomenal. And Joey was
and
amazing
Joey's
too.
amazing,
They're
too.
crushing it. It's so
Whoa.
Yeah,
exciting.
Joey's
I didn't
really
see it.
good.
Joey and Jen crushed.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, they
Wow.
were
I was happy
amazing.
for
thought.
I was happy for both of them, but especially for her. Good for her. She needs this.
It's like,
Yeah.
after the bullshit
Yeah.
that she had to deal
Yeah.
with, it's like this,
Yeah.
And
like, yes.
Yeah.
She's
Good
going to
job.
soar. She's going to soar. And then we get the surprise where JP rolls in the TV and we have the messages from their
Which
family.
was wonderful.
was
Did they do
beautiful.
that last year?
No, and
I love that idea.
was sobbing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to see everyone's message, though. I wanted more. I wanted to see all the messages in full.
All the kids, yeah.
But there were a couple moments, like I mentioned with Jordan. I'm like, I saw, maybe some potential queer kids.
Yes.
And I was like, is this why I love this group of men? We have a lot of men who have daughters, and a lot of men who
A lot of the men
have daughters, and a lot of the men I was getting potential like queer
Yes.
energy, and I'm like, do we have a lot of men who are supporting their queer kids and have daughters? I'm like, is this why this energy in this cast is so good?
Yep.
Is this what it is? Like, oof,
Great energy.
I was feeling so good. And then we have the rose ceremony. Obviously, she's given her first impression rose to Keith. First rose goes to Dan. I was surprised. So there is like a
There's something
chemistry
there.
there.
There's
First
something there.
rose.
Do you think that matters when whoever she chooses to give the first
Jess
rose
does.
to?
Jess does think that.
I do. Now, granted, there is production involved, so it's like, I don't know 100%, but I do think the first rose, when we have the big groups, matters when it comes to, if anything, for the viewers, the story we're going to see. I don't think you typically see a lead give their first rose when, again, there's big groups, to someone who just kind of isn't part of the storyline. So I feel like Dan's going to be around for a while.
So 5 got eliminated last night.
So we have Dan. So staying, we have Keith, Dan, Jonathan, Mark, Guy, Charles K, Gil, Gary, Pascal, Chock, Kim, Christopher, Gregg. She steps away because she's emotional, which made me thought, it's going to be a tough season for her.
I like that though. I mean, she's like tapped in.
She's tapped in. But I'm like, it's going to be a tough season for her if she's already like feeling that way.
Night 1. Wow.
Comes back, gives the next rose to Charles L, Jordan, thank God, Bob, Michael, and Jack. And saying goodbye, we have Pablo, Bill. I know.
Yeah.
Pablo.
Well, no, good for you.
Good for you. Pablo,
Yeah, maybe.
Bill, RJ, David, Ken, and someone else. And I'm so
Thomas.
sorry. Thomas.
The firefighter.
Thank you, Mom. Thomas.
Yeah.
Ugh, look, you're complimenting me
Yeah,
about
you're
remembering
like-
things, and you've got
You're
like
on it.
Well, that's because I'm sitting there looking at my
I know, but I'm
picture board. And I remember when these pictures first came out, you really were hopeful for Bill, the photographer. He's
I
from
know.
Oregon,
I
remember?
thought he was so cute.
Yeah.
Steve Carell.
Yeah, I got 4. I mean, I chose 5 guys and 4 of them were correct. They were all in the
Oh,
corner.
you mean you chose 5
I
to
chose
go that you thought were going to go
I
home?
mean, it was kind of obvious only because a lot of them didn't hardly get any time whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, these are the guys that are maybe going to go.
But thank you
Give
for
them
choosing
any
Jack,
time.
because that's really
Thank
what
God.
matters here.
Thank
I'm so
God.
excited
Charles,
about
Ellen,
that.
Jack. And also we saw, to wrap the rose ceremony, Guy is crying.
Yeah.
And
he's crying because of the fact that he got chosen.
Yeah. And I was like,
know.
oh my heart.
I know.
And again, coming from like an ER doctor.
Yeah, you would think they're kind of generally not very emotional because they're
you're
kind
just
of like
you're
in trauma
exposed
land all
to
day.
so much. And so that was a very like beautiful moment where I'm like, oh wow, he's like
an
really
open
tapped
person.
in,
Yeah.
really open. And then we got a season preview, and man, we've got Jack with the cannonballs.
So
Potential,
we got Jack that we see.
but with the cannonballs, we got a
Yeah.
potential stripper date. which is
Yeah.
wild.
Stripper date? I didn't notice that.
It looks
It
like
went by so quickly.
they were taking their shirts
Yeah, they're
off.
taking shirts off. We see Pascal taking her on some like gorgeous date. Like they're doing
something's on a boat.
jet
I saw
setting
that.
with Pascal.
She's saying,
energy.
I love you to Mark.
And then
Guy says he's falling for her.
Gary Turner comes back.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, side note, I'm wondering, like, at this point,
I was wondering if they were going to bring him in again because he's single.
well, I'm like, when he shows up and talks to her, is this like post-divorce? And is he going to be like, because he said, do you think that
Your guy's
your
here?
guy's here?
Or maybe he's right here.
I
I'm
thought
like,
he
is-
said, do you think maybe your guy isn't here?
Right. It was like a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is he talking about himself?
I'm like, is GGT going to
he
show up
making
and
a
be
move?
like, make a move on Joan? Because clearly he liked her
He
a lot.
liked her
Oh, yeah.
a lot.
'Cause she
I
left,
think
yeah.
she would have ended up in the top 3 had she not left.
I think he might have chosen her.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So I'm
Boy.
like, is GGT showing up very
Yeah.
spray tanned?
Yeah, does GGT not come in as like ex-contestant mentor, but comes in as like
They may drop him. You never know. Like
He's
they sometimes
actually
let
in it?
people.
And
That'll
even
be
if he just
interesting.
comes back as mentor, is he going to be like
Is he gonna make
hinting the
moves?
entire
Yeah,
time? He's like,
yeah.
well, I don't think any
know.
of these guys are here.
well,
for
technically
the-
you never gave me a chance.
she needs to stick with her cast crew.
Oh, that would
I
be
agree.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be swayed by GGT.
Yeah. And then who else do we see? We
she's-
see her with Jonathan.
We see her with Jonathan.
We see her with Jonathan. They're like schmoozy.
She's also like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks like almost fantasy
and we see her
sweet.
with Guy too.
Yep, but almost fantasy sweet. Looks
And
like
I
she's
think
saying goodbye to
Chock.
Chock. And it
Yes.
looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
fantasy sweet.
Yeah.
She does. She says bye and he goes around and gets
So
into
maybe
the,
again, that's
yeah.
editing. But it looks like Chock goes really far.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm telling you guys, there's a competitive edge. I don't know how I feel. I just don't know how I feel. Mark's
We
crying.
gotta first have to get to know.
I gotta
these
get. I
people
gotta
much
get to know. I
better.
gotta
We
get to know.
can't-
But Mom, I go off of a original initial energy.
Yeah, and you're right a lot of times.
And I
look at
do-
my history. This is why I am still single. Not that I date a lot.
I just hope that
got
no matter what happens,
our
Jack
future.
is still just able to be in the mansion and hang out. So if it's like, can I hang out
Yeah.
in the freaking pool, even if you guys don't like even if he doesn't get chosen, just let him hang out, cook, chill.
I think
Jack,
they're gonna make
Pascal, and Guy. Those 3, we need that energy.
Guy.
or Charles L.
No, I'm thinking of
Charles
Gary,
L. Gary.
Gary.
I
Sorry.
need Gary.
Yes.
Gary.
But then I need. But then I also need
Pascal
Jordan
and
and I need
Jack.
Charles L. I'm already so attached and like I
Yes.
barely know these guys.
I'm actually
Yeah.
really excited for this next episode because I'm
So am
because
I.
last season was tougher in the way that like we didn't like any of the guys.
Yeah,
so
the
it was
guys
like, but now we
sucked.
love all these guys. So I think it's gonna be really fun.
We love the Golden Bachelor. We love the Golden Bachelor because they did a good job, and I'm sure they'll keep this. It's
Yeah.
just nice watching older. It's nice watching more mature individuals.
Yeah.
It really is so lovely. But we do see Joan. She's like, I'm feeling guilt. Am
Yeah.
I ready? So we see her at like a final, it looks like the final rose ceremony. So I think she goes all the way there.
Yeah.
But also there's a chance that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm obsessed with the season so far.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I cannot wait. I'm so attached to these men already.
Sylvia, thanks for coming.
Pablo hit up my mom, be my stepdad.
Yeah.
Mom,
Yes, Pablo, just a coffee date so we
Sylvia,
can chat.
you killed it.
Mom,
You
I
were so
love you. Thanks so
natural.
much for coming on. You were
Dang, yes.
amazing.
I'm not funny though.
Mom,
You are funny, and
You
just,
are funny.
You're great at all the analysis, and your
I
memory's
know.
awesome.
Thank you.
You're
I know,
amazing.
Oh my God.
I actually could read an ad.
You could.
You were able to read that?
No, I was going to say, I think I'd be pretty good at reading your ads.
I mean,
I wish I could write them
You're
for
wel-
you.
You're welcome to come.
You're
on
hired.
and You've been hired.
Just to read all your ads.
Yeah.
Oh, to read all the ads. That's actually really funny.
Sylvia's always in for the ad read. But Mom, love you.
Love you.
Quick.
Is it turned off now?
No,
Not
no,
yet.
no.
No, not yet.
Bye, family.
Well, Mom, we
Love ya.
love you so much.
Love you guys.
Thanks for
Thanks for
joining
coming
us.
out.
letting me barge in.
Are you
my
kidding
gosh.
me?
And give opinions
we
from
needed,
a
we needed
63-year-old.
our
We needed
golden.
this.
We needed our golden bachelorette
Yes.
for the first episode.
You're our
of
ambassador.
the
You're our
golden
boots on the
bachelorette.
ground.
All right. Well,
Even though we're all so different, my opinion is obviously not a lot of other people's opinions.
That's,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, that's
you
the
know-
point of
Whatever,
this.
but
but like I
that
said,
makes
We're
you're
just two people
but
too.
you're
Makes
but
the
you're
world go round,
But you're
right?
our golden bachelorette.
Thank you.
So
beautiful.
We love
I
you.
hope I'm not going to stay singly golden
right.
for another 15 years.
We'll get you somebody.
We're gonna figure it out. All right,
Love y'all.
family. We love you all.
Bye.
Tune
I
in.
don't even know where to
tune
look.
in
Bye.
next Friday for our next recap episode. The recaps are going to be coming out on Fridays, so tune in on Friday. We love you all.
Bye.
Bye.